Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Travis Hunter, joined as always by my co-host, my sister, and my brother-in-law.
Hi, I'm Reneé Hunter Vasquez.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
This week, we're broadcasting live from the Green Man Inn, discussing the 1973 horror classic, The Wicker Man. This film was directed by Robin Hardy from a screenplay by Richard Schaefer. Loosely adapting elements from David Pinner's novel Ritual, The Wicker Man combines horror and mystery with mythology, theology, and a surprising amount of musicality. As it draws inspiration from ancient Celtic paganism, this film has proven an incredibly influential entry in the subgenre of folk horror, and along with achieving cult status and critical acclaim, would go on to spawn a remake in 2006 and a companion film in 2011. This film was suggested to us by friends of the show, Gareth Evans, Claire Sutton, Ian Graham, Brent Payne, Jason Keane, and Titanic Discussions over on YouTube. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the show, as well as this suggestion. So, The Wicker Man. What were your first impressions on the film?
This was the first time I ever watched this movie. I'll even be honest, I knew of the Nick Cage Wicker Man. I knew nothing of this. This isn't a bad movie. It's very strange. Very strange. Me and your sister were talking the other night, and she had mentioned that how much she didn't realize Midsommar took from this movie.
It's unbelievable.
And watching it, hearing her say that, and then I was like, okay. I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I will say for me, Midsommar worked a little more, but this movie isn't bad. If you've never seen it, it's at least worth watching once. Not in a bad way, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like if you only watch it once, that I feel like that's enough.
Not in a bad way.
Yeah,
no,
but not in a bad way.
No, I mean like because you could either like it or you could not. And if you don't like it, at least you gave it that one shot. You know what I mean?
That's
and if
fair.
you didn't like it, you know what I mean? I would watch it again.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'd watch it again, but the movie's a fucking ride.
Yeah. There's so much that's unexpected about it.
Right.
And from what you hear about it going in, you get the one thing that everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Right.
But the way to that thing is very surprising.
Yeah.
No, very surprising because I feel like, and I had never seen this before either.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen clips, and of course we all kind of know what the Wicker Man is just
Right.
because of culture at this point.
Yeah.
But watching it, I'll say maybe 10, 15 minutes in, I was like, okay, first of all, is this a fucking musical?
Yeah.
Secondly, what the fuck is going on? Like, it was a lot stranger than what I had anticipated. I really felt like I kind of already knew, because you know what's going to happen, or I knew what was going to happen.
Right.
Like it would be a straight line to there, and it really wasn't.
No, there was a lot of detours.
It was. I was pleasantly surprised because there were moments where I'm like, "What the fuck is about to happen?"
Yeah, and it kept you on your toes.
Oh yeah,
It did.
yeah.
And there were some bops. I'm not gonna lie.
There are some that I would have. I would put on my iPod Shuffle.
I'm not.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I will say there's no warm side of the door.
That was
But-
my thing too. I was like, oh, this is almost Silent Night, Deadly Night. And then it got to a point and I was like, damn it. Now.
The funny thing about it is, as I was watching it, I was like, I don't know if JP's going to like this, but Silent Night, Deadly Night. That was my one thing I was
The
holding
thread.
on to it. Yeah.
But I did say that about Midsommar. I
Right.
feel like Midsommar is if the Wicker Man ate some mushrooms and threw up. And that's, I mean, and I love Midsommar, but it is undeniable how much this influenced.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost surprising. I think we even talked about it on the Midsommar episode, what we remembered or knew of the Wicker Man
Yeah.
showing up,
Right.
but how much of it is incredible.
Yeah.
The influence, and it's not just on Midsommar, it's on various other folk horror films
Oh, yeah.
that just borrow freely from the Wicker Man. Interestingly, we did cover Midsommar on episode 15, which was exactly 100 episodes ago.
Holy shit.
Oh,
we keep
nice.
doing shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like that's like this on accident.
Freaked out.
My mind is blown.
I can't even talk. I will agree that it is a very strange film. Mm-hmm. It's very surprising because I did not know about all the music. I did not know just how horny this film was.
It is very horny. I think that Thirst still takes the crown for horniest film we've ever covered. But this one's it's peeking in the window. It's like
it is and it isn't for me. Like, because I had told your sister, and when we get to it, I'll go ahead and say it there. But I noticed in certain scenes or activities, things were going on that should have been the other way around. But it was just. Like I said, when we get there, I'll talk.
You're speaking in riddles.
Yeah. Well, I don't. We haven't gotten to the movie
That's
yet.
True, yeah. You're like, what am I?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
But walks on two legs.
Yeah. But even with all that considered, I was like, I really like this. But then when I rewatched it to, kind of get a more fresh take on it,
right,
because my memory is dog shit these days, I was like, I think I love this film. There's it's such a strange charm to it, and you kind of get sucked in by the people of Summer Isle, and Christopher Lee is just Christopher Lee.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
I was a little shook because I had never seen Christopher Lee this young before.
Yeah.
No.
It took me a second to recognize that it was him. And so I looked it up. I was like, he had to be, 30 something? He was fucking 51 when this movie my mind was blown.
Yeah, your sister told me that too. I was like, 25. She was like, he's 50. I was like,
I'm sorry.
Shit.
What the hell? Because we're used to seeing him.
He is a wizard.
Much older. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Clearly.
It was so strange to me because I guess I was like, I guess I've only seen him 70s and on.
Yeah.
And not 19s, his 70s.
Yeah.
And it's nuts because he did have such a massive career before this.
Yeah.
Because he was doing all those Hammer horror films. And this film actually grew out of an idea of Richard Schaefer, who was a playwright. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to work with, I guess, Christopher Lee. And Christopher Lee wanted to get, not necessarily out of Hammer horror, but he wanted to try something different.
Yeah.
So you got these two people coming together that have an idea to try something new. Mm-hmm. And then they meet with a producer. I think it was a Canadian guy called Peter Snell. But the three of them optioned that book I talked about, Ritual. Mm-hmm. I think it was like £15,000.
All right.
I read in The Independent, and then they eventually went on. Now, there's a lot taken from Ritual, but a lot of it is Schaefer's writing. But later they would kind of shit on Ritual and be like, well, that story wasn't. And so they're like, The Wicker Man's the improved version of it. But they hook up with the director, Robin Hardy, and during it is unbelievable the shit they went through to make this film, but I'm just going to touch on a few things very quickly because in pre-production, I learned this from The Wicker Man Enigma, which was a little documentary they made. Mm-hmm. Robin Hardy had a heart attack.
Oh, shit.
He had a hearty attack?
He had a hearty attack. And so...
That's not funny.
No, it's not. You're like, his heart gave out? I'm like, nay.
I live for a pun.
Shit. You're like, you live by the pun.
Sorry.
You die by the pun. But while he was recuperating from the heart attack, him and Schaefer had started researching all of the Celtic paganism that they were going to use in the film. And so him being laid up actually helped the film in a weird way. But obviously spring and summer play a huge role in this film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the difficulty was whenever it came time to make the film, I believe it was British Lion, which was the production company at the time. They had been bought out by some random billionaire that I forgot his name. But he kind of rushed them into production because everybody thought he bought it just to sell all the assets. And he's like, okay, well, then we need to make this film. And so they had to rush and go into production, which is why it was filmed in November, December.
Right.
And so they had to fake a bunch of shit for
that
the springtime.
Makes sense. Yeah, because I did read about them having to glue leaves onto trees and stuff like that. Yeah.
And they were so freezing in the fucking Scottish winter.
Oh, man.
I think they said that some of the extras in the crowd shots, they had to have ice in their mouths so that you couldn't see the smoke that they were exhaling.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that is through the production, all these issues.
Yeah.
And they had to be naked for a lot of it.
Yeah, they did.
Shit.
There's a scene.
There's a few.
But the thing got even worse whenever it came time for distribution, because at that point, British Lion had sold to EMI, And so the way that they thought of things back then is like, well, that's the old fucking guard that wanted to make the Wicker Man. We didn't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
And so they tried to sell it to Roger Corman, who we talked about a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And Roger Corman was like interested in it, but he just suggested a few cuts here and there. And they're like, fine, we're going to cut 15 minutes of it.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And so they infuriate Christopher Lee, like the guy in charge, Michael Dealey. He gets with the editor. He tells him to make all these cuts. He told Christopher Lee that this is one of the 10 worst films he's ever seen.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Christopher Lee and with Edward Woodward.
That's a hard name
I had
to say.
to say it
You
slow.
focused so hard.
That was laser focused. And they were saying how devastating that was to hear.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the work that they had to put into that for someone to be like, oh, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And like that, I can't imagine.
And I mean, it's a low budget. I think it was made less than $1 million.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like you're hurting the studio by doing so much shit.
Right.
But Christopher Lee believed in the film so much that he kind of went and championed it.
Mm-hmm.
And he told critics in the UK that he would buy their ticket to see the film
Right.
if
All
they
right.
would just review it. And he said that they didn't ask him to pay for their ticket. They went on their own, and then it started getting all this critical acclaim.
Yeah.
Then it goes to the U.S., oddly not with Roger Corman, so his fucking thing didn't even come into play.
Yeah.
And so it goes to the U.S., it starts to become this like cult classic, it grows, and then they wanted to do a director's cut, and rumor has it that they were building a highway outside of Shepperton Studios, and they sent the negatives to that studio so that they could make the director's cut, and somebody put the wrong film with the negatives, and the rumor has it that those negatives were part of a landfill that is buried under that highway now.
That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, I don't. Christopher Lee said he doesn't believe it.
Because it doesn't make sense.
But it was because of Corman, because they sent him the full cut of the film whenever they were going to try to get him to buy it.
Uh-huh.
So they were able to put together a director's cut years later because of that circumstance.
All right.
But this film went through so much fucking
Yeah.
shit.
So did those negatives end up where the scenes from Event Horizon ended up? Can we find all of that,
I
please?
want them spliced together in a supercut. Now, before we offer this film to the gods, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Pod Mortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, let's gather around the maypole. So the film begins with on-screen text reading, "The producers would like to thank the Lord Summerisle and the people of his island off the west coast of Scotland for this privileged insight into their religious practices and for their generous cooperation in the making of this film." What?
I have questions.
Yeah.
It's funny because my first note was, is this real?
Yeah.
And then I watch it and I'm like,
No.
maybe we shouldn't have had that text.
No, that's some like found footage shit, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, publish it. Like,
It's just I don't know what they were trying to do with that.
no.
That was the only thing that like completely confused me.
Unless it's supposed to make you feel going in like this is kind of maybe lighthearted or this is just a depiction of their religion or something like that. And then we get into it and it's like,
No, this is
good feelings gone. Maybe, I don't know. But after finishing it, I was like, they wouldn't have.
No. And it's a straight up film too.
Yeah.
So I mean, are they implying that there's the Lord Summerisle out there?
Yeah. Right.
That's Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
But to the sound of seagulls, we fade in on a seaplane cruising through the water, the engine's coming to life as it ascends into the sky, and we see the title, Anthony Schaefer's The Wicker Man. I did think it was odd for the screenwriter to get the title of the credit above the title, but apparently he was kind of a famous writer at the time. Mm-hmm. He had done, I think, a film called Frenzy and a play called Sleuth that turned into a film.
Right.
So it's a draw.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's almost like Stephen King's
Yeah.
Dr. Sleep. I don't know why I chose
Dr.
that one.
All right.
I loved Rose the Hat, but we watch as the seaplane flies over the water and small islands, all to the tune of a woman singing a song titled The Highland Widow's Lament. The song is about a woman who has lost her joy after the death of her husband in the war, so we are continuing with this uplifting kind of...
Yeah.
One thing that is interesting to me is that the majority, if not all of this film was filmed on location. But I read that these islands that he's flying over were actually off the coast of South Africa because they had the vegetation necessary and Scotland didn't.
That makes sense.
Because, I mean, it was fucking 2 degrees or whatever.
Yeah, I was like, it's winter.
Yeah. But piloting the plane is Sergeant Neil Howie, played by Edward Woodward, and he consults a map as he flies over what appears to be those finely manicured farmlands, and eventually an entire village with really nice-looking seaside homes.
Right.
Very good job saying his name because I'm incapable. I just appreciate that when he got in that plane to make his journey, he loaded up a fire ass mixtape.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we got a corn rig song coming up.
Yeah.
It's a fucking bop.
The song switches to a much more upbeat little ditty called Corn Rigs, which appears to be about a man who made love to a woman called Annie among, corn rigs. Maybe it's the widow from the first song. Good for them.
She got her groove back. I'm happy for her.
That's her arc. I appreciate it. But as we said in the intro, there's a lot of fucking musical breaks.
Oh my God.
Apparently this was brought on by the research that they did because they found out that like in ancient Celtic religion, songs were very important.
Right.
Part of rituals and all this stuff. So they tried to have that play in.
All right.
The music was done by a guy called Paul Giovanni, and this was actually the first film he ever scored.
Oh, okay.
And it's interesting because he scores it unlike any other.
Well,
no.
He put his whole ass into this.
Yeah.
They said that some of the song lyrics were from poems written by a guy called Robert Burns in the 1700s, and others were from way back in the, there's a song at the end that's from, the 1300s.
Yeah.
They just picked
from
everywhere. But it does feel like, and not at this point, but it feels like a musical later.
It does.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of, in the back half, tapers off. But the first half of the movie, I was like, I did not know that The Wicker Man was a musical.
No, nobody told me that. But Howie lands the seaplane in front of a building marked Harbor Master. He tosses his anchor and calls out to a few men standing outside to send him a dinghy. The men are Old Fisherman, played by Kevin Collins, and the Harbor Master himself, played by Russell Waters, which I thought was a funny coincidence with the name.
Yeah.
But the Harbor Master asks Howie if he's lost his bearings, but after confirming that this is in fact Summer Isle, Howie once again asks for a dinghy. As several men gather around him, the Harbor Master says that he can't do that because Howie isn't allowed to land on private property without written permission. As if his uniform wasn't a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
He lets them know that he's a police officer and a complaint has been filed in regard to a missing child on the island. So private property or no, it better get real dingy real fast.
Yeah, he's like, I took 2 full-ass songs to get over here, fool. He's like, somebody
So
come
fucking-
get me. Yeah.
That was about 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But the Harbor Master turns around. He looks at the other guys almost like, this fucking guy. And he does send the dinghy though.
Yeah.
It's already, there's this sense of, this is a cop, and I know, whatever, but this is a movie. The cop is here to help.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're like, are you allowed to be, already it's weird. There's something off.
It does begin that way. And it's interesting to me because there's these little moments between the Harbor Master and all these men that you can see something is working.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's very, outsider.
Yes.
We all can have this conversation, or we all know what we're thinking, kind of just looking at each other, and you have no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that in its own way is very scary.
Yes.
If you're Howie.
Yeah.
For them, we're these are my friends.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. I'm not going to defend this man for long.
Okay.
But
It
in
starts.
this first scene,
Yes.
I'm like, and after he says why he's here and everything, and they're still just like, well, I'm
Yeah,
like, what
yeah.
the fuck?
Because it's noble.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk as it
Yeah.
continues. But various townsfolk take notice of Howie as he sails across on a red dinghy, and we get another taste of corn rigs again.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It made me laugh.
Yeah.
My lighter is in the air.
There's also like a blue eye that's painted on the dinghy, which I know is supposed to be good, but this eye feels eerie, right?
Well, the evil eye is like wards off evil. Like it's supposed to protect you. But
Like, don't listen to the name.
Yeah, no, this looks scary.
Yeah.
And I did read that the village or whatever, the people that lived there, this was just some dude's boat. Like they didn't paint that for the movie. That's what his
It's just on there.
It's just,
Is he afraid of like sea monsters?
I don't know.
Like, he's like, I'm not trying to get fucked up by Cthulhu out here. But Howie dusts himself off and properly introduces himself to the harbor master, who does seem to take the subject of a missing child somewhat seriously. He even suggests that Howie share his concern with his lordship, as he is very particular of who lands on the island.
I'm a fucking cop.
Yeah.
Called here about a missing child. What do you mean you're particular about who comes on the
not
island?
Sure.
Yeah.
What?
But Howie says that he will eventually in due time speak to his lordship, admitting his own particularities as well. But he shows them a picture of a girl called Rowan Morrison, saying that it was sent along with an anonymous letter posted here in Summer Isle and sent to him directly and personally. So there is a scene that was cut of him receiving this letter in photo, but it doesn't end up in this version of the film.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, that it doesn't need it.
Yeah. I don't think we need to see him getting it.
No.
Well, I mean,
what's this?
It's
You know?
sent to him personally, and then he comes and says it was sent to him personally.
Yeah.
We don't really need it.
Yeah, we saw it, guy.
Yeah.
But he gives the photo to the harbor master, and he passes it around to the men. They barely give it a cursory glance, and all the men either say that they've never seen her before or that she's not from the island.
The way that they were barely looking at that
Yeah.
picture, like, really annoyed me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, at least pretend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Like, they're like, nah, I've never seen her.
Yeah.
They're just like not even looking at it.
And they all kind of have like it looks like they're trying to like stifle a smirk.
Right.
They want to giggle. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
see.
So again, I like this a lot because once you've seen the film, you know why.
Yeah.
But at this point, you're like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
wrong
It
with these
already
guys?
just feels weird and off. Like, if I were him, I would be extremely uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
And mad,
And mad.
Oh hell yeah.
right? Like, it's a missing kid. But Old Fisherman says that he can find Morrisons in Lewis or Mull, but not on Summer Isle. I don't know how they've separated surnames
Yeah.
like that. but-
They're not allowed
Oh,
here.
no, we're not. But Howie then begins to read the letter. It says that nobody has seen Rowan, who is only 12 years old, since sometime last year. But when Howie reads that Rowan is the daughter of a woman named May, suddenly everyone has heard of May Morrison. The harbor master even says that she keeps the post office in High Street.
We don't have any Morrisons here. Oh,
Oh,
May
May-
Morrison?
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all are fucking liars, like
No.
from the
Oh
rip.
yeah.
Clearly. And the thing that pisses me off is that you're supposed to be this like good detective. He, not even 2 seconds ago,
Yeah.
said, oh, Lewis and Mull has all the Morrisons. Every Morrison that ever was. Keith Morrison,
Yeah.
Jim Morrison. It's like, what? And then just be like, oh no, May Morrison, we go. I went to high school.
She's right over there.
Yeah, oh, hey. It's like, what? And he never is like, but you just said.
Yeah.
No. But also, we really just gloss over the fact that he said she's been missing since last year.
Yeah.
That is a big deal.
Like, that's very huge. And I feel like nobody, like, it's mentioned that one time and
Yeah,
nobody talks about it again. Have y'all never seen the first 48? Or like,
No, yeah.
I'm just...
The first 48 is crucial.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did mail the letter. Maybe it took a little bit to get to
It
him.
took
That's
year.
true.
Yeah.
It took 3 songs.
Yeah.
But after Howie confirms that she runs the post office, he thanks them for their help and turns to leave. But as he does, all the men tell Howie that while they know May, Rowan is not May's daughter. When he asks who she is then, they dummy up, and as soon as he walks away, they smirk, looking mischievous as all hell.
You've been an enormous help.
Yeah.
Like, Thanks for nothing.
It's so funny to me because he interviews them and they're all old men.
Yeah.
But it's like he walked to like a basketball court and interviewed like 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're just like, I haven't seen her.
Yeah.
Have you seen her? It's like, dude, a little decorum or something. Son of a bitch. But as Howie walks by the sea, seagulls flutter around overhead, and we get a more sensual verse of corn rigs. One might even deem it pornographic.
Yeah.
He's like, and then I laid Annie down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
It's Corn Rigs After Dark.
Yeah.
It's the B-side.
I got to admit, I think that the first song that was played, I was like, oh, all right, set in the mood. But when Corn Rig started, I was like, what is this? But once again, various townsfolk peer out of their windows at Howie, some even opening their doors just to watch him as he passes by. I did hear that the majority of these townsfolk were just locals.
Oh, all right.
I love that.
Which is like really cool to me. But it was at this moment where everybody, you kind of realize how outnumbered he is, and you wonder why he didn't bring backup.
Yeah, or some kind of firearm or a billy club or something.
Anything.
Yeah.
He has no...
He did mention that. John Paul mentioned that this morning. Why does he have nothing?
Like at all.
I don't know.
Not a whistle, not a
No.
nothing.
I was very... Well, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that police in the UK carry guns.
That's what I said.
But I don't know when that began.
But I mean, they've got to have a baton or something. You've got to have something to defend yourself.
Well, they're trained in MMA.
I mean, I
No,
get that.
I don't know.
I mean, even that. I mean, I know that they do have to go through some kind of training.
Yeah, no, I was joking.
No,
I really don't know.
But I'm just, my thing was that, how come he doesn't have anything to defend himself? Nothing.
I don't know. And I was hoping maybe in that deleted scene, like one of his coworkers was like, or did they call them coworkers? I don't know.
A fellow officer?
One of his fellow officers was like, do you want me to go with you? And he's like, no, it's just a...
No, I've got it.
Yeah, it's an inquiry. Wow.
That's my Edward Woodward.
You're turning Edward Woodward into the rural juror. But Howie just continues walking, carrying his briefcase, and he eventually stops at the post office that doubles for a sweets shop as well.
Okay, I laughed out loud because dude had just gone on his whole spiel about there's no Morrison, there never was any Morrison.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's Mae Morrison.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then when he gets there, her name is the biggest thing on the sign. It says Mae Morrison.
Yeah.
And then Tiny, it's like sweet shop, post office.
It's like she's a local celebrity.
Yeah. Well, shit, all that goodness she got in there.
Wow.
I mean, it did.
That
look,
is fair.
Yeah. But it just made me laugh because I'm like, her name is the biggest thing on that sign.
But Howie does eye an array of sweets, some appearing to be calaveras.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. Mhm.
Some rats, pigs, one's a naked woman. They got a variety here.
There was a lot.
But Howie walks into the shop and is greeted by Mae Morrison, played by Irene Sunters. Howie comments that he likes the chocolate rabbits, but is promptly corrected. Those are hares, lovely March hares.
She's like, dumbass.
Yeah. So they're going to buy some chocolate or what? Get the fuck out. Since nobody's giving him any respect.
And it is interesting because no one's allowed. Really, I mean, they've kind of implied that you have to have special permission to be here.
Yeah.
So I feel like him walking in, she'd be like, is everything like, who are
That's
you?
true.
What's going on? She's just like, oh no, that's a March hair or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just so put off already. Like, I'm very uncomfortable.
Well, there's a few inconsistencies with, I guess, the behavior of people towards Howie.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's, again, something that makes sense later.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that was one I was like, shouldn't you be like, who the fuck?
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't know he was coming.
No.
Like, they were hesitant to even help him get on the island because they didn't know he was coming. Nobody left. Like, there's no time for word to spread that there's this copper here. And, but like,
Yeah.
and knowing at the post office, you know everybody.
Yeah.
That really stuck out to me.
But he introduces himself, and she says that she saw him come to town on a seaplane, wondering if he came all that way just for her. He tells her that he actually came about her daughter, who is missing. She's like, my daughter? Which is interesting because the guys just told him that she wasn't her daughter.
Yeah.
So he's already not believing what he's been told, which is honestly good police work.
Yeah.
Yes, because those men were clearly on some bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As the police say, they were on some bullshit.
I think that's a term that's in the handbook. But he shows her the picture, and she just laughs it off, saying that the girl in the picture is not her daughter. She then invites him behind the counter, taking him to the back room and introducing him to Myrtle Morrison, her 9-year-old daughter played by Jennifer Martin. As Myrtle paints a picture of a hare, possibly chocolate, May invites her to say hello. She does so politely and then shows her mother the drawing. But as May heads out to tend to a customer, Howie makes his way over to talk to Myrtle. He takes a look at her drawing and she tells him that if he wants, he can fill in the hare's ears in gray. She hands him a paintbrush, wet side first.
I'm like, have you never handed anyone a paintbrush before?
Oh, fuck. She's never had help painting. It's
She's like, hurry up.
Yeah.
Wipe his hand on her dress. Oh, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
'Cause that's how we do this on this island, I guess. But she apologizes and hands him a towel. As he paints with her, Howie cuts straight to the point, asking if she knows Rowan. Myrtle says, "Of course I do, silly." And then says that she's in the fields. She runs and plays there all day. Howie's like, really? Do you think she'll be back for tea? Myrtle just scoffs and tells him that hares don't drink tea. Howie's like, Rowan's a hare? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's very elusive and confusing. And this child does not have a guardian present, so none of this is going to hold up in court.
I was going to say, you shouldn't really be interviewing a child.
But very strange. And the fact that the only straight answer you've gotten is from this child who's saying that the missing girl is an animal. Like, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Do you want to know how stupid I am, I guess, as a human being? Or maybe just as an... Well, you probably already know. But maybe just as an American. But anytime I see a child in a British accent... See, I've already started wrong.
Every time I see a child wearing a British accent.
It's anytime I see a child who has a British accent, my first thought every single time is, wow, that child does a very convincing British accent.
Know that there are British children.
Not that the child is British.
Yeah.
And then my second thought is, you're fucking stupid. And I had that thought watching this movie. I'm like, you're 31 years old. Why do you keep doing this?
There are children in the UK.
Yes, and I know that now. But just as Myrtle says that Rowan is a hare, May returns, asking Howie if he'll stay for a cuppa. Howie says that he will, and May says that it must be thirsty work asking all those questions.
That was a little hostile. Yeah. Maybe I'm just sensitive at this point, but
does that mean you gave me permission to question your daughter? Because I'm asking her questions?
I guess it just was giving shut your fucking mouth. Like, that's how I took it.
You remember Captain Spaulding when he was like, why are you asking all these jackassy questions?
Yeah.
That's the tone it had, but like veiled.
But nice. Yeah.
I mean, he gets a cup of tea out of it.
Yeah,
so.
it's like
throw
the
it in her
nasty
face.
nice.
Get out of here, you fucker.
It's like, where's Rowan?
Yeah.
But in a transition, we see a sign for the Green Man Inn with what appears to be a plant monster on it.
Yeah.
That's the Green Man.
Very cool.
Yeah, I like that. I was that's badass.
Yeah, as a whole hotel
it's
named
Jordy Merrill.
I do want to say, just a sidebar, and this might be one of the first. I have a reputation, so it's probably not the first, but I'm saying that because things have been exaggerated over the years.
All right.
But the Green Man Inn is referenced in the Rob Zombie song, The Ballad of Resurrection Joe and Rosa Hoare, which is a very catchy song. So there's a positive...
Somewhere in it, does he go, yeah.
I'm certain. But we see Howie walk in, making his way through a crowd of people. When he enters, we hear sounds of chatter and an accordion because there's a whole band that's in the hotel.
Yeah.
Right.
But the second he walks by, everything goes silent. That shit is horrifying.
Yeah.
It's just, again, this sense of being an outsider and kind of everybody being in on the joke but you. Like, that's what it's very unnerving and uncomfortable to even just watch.
Yes.
I feel like it was the same energy in Get Out where it's like, I I'm not welcome here.
Right.
Everybody else has this inside knowledge of something, and I'm just out here.
Yeah.
You know, and Jordan Peele is an incredible student of horror.
Yeah.
So that moment might be a little homage.
I could totally see that. Yeah.
But Howie sees a few of the people that he chatted with earlier and he gives them a little nod, but then he introduces himself to Alder McGregor, the landlord played by Lindsay Kemp. Seeing as he won't be able to make it back to the mainland tonight, Howie asks for a room to stay and a bite to eat. Alder kind of creepily says, I believe that can be arranged. It's like...
Yeah.
Now I don't want to eat anything.
Yeah. Are there any other inns on the island? But Alder says that his daughter Willow will show Howie to his room, and he calls it to the counter. Willow, played by Britt Eklund, steps in and looks Howie up and down as her father tells her of Howie's current circumstances. It's very like a sensual up and down look.
Yes, it is. I only knew Britt Eklund. I was excited to see her here because they talked about her on Coupling.
But very good. I knew very little about her. I knew that she was a model and an actress. But she was, this is according to Wikipedia, due to her relationships with Peter Sellers and Rod Stewart, they said that she was one of the most photographed celebrities of the 1970s.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit.
So she had it was a big kind of a get for her to be in this film.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially considering the budget of the film. The interesting thing about it, though, is that she is actually Swedish, born in Stockholm. So her voice is dubbed in the film.
You could tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
This makes no sense to me, but it was dubbed by a woman named Annie Ross, who is a Grammy-winning jazz singer, but her singing voice was dubbed by a woman called Rachel Verney.
I was like somebody else.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, but you got a jazz singer.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, they're like, she can't be showing out like that. It's got to be
Yeah,
believable.
she lives on an island. Like, she'd be a famous.
But yeah, the dubbing was a little off at some points.
Yeah.
It was, I was like, am I watching Suspiria again?
And which was why I loved it. But here's the weird thing that I don't understand is that, of course, she is clearly being dubbed, right?
Absolutely.
In later interviews, she would even complain about the dubbing because she said that she had tried to do a Scottish accent and they just didn't like it. But other people that did the dubbing said that they only dubbed one song for her.
Yeah.
And then Robin Hardy was like, well, maybe that was her real voice. It's not. I'm like, what?
There's a lot of weird
fuck?
stuff
Yeah.
that I read, or like a lot of like discrepancies regarding Britt Eklund.
Yes.
And her nudity on the film.
Right. Well, yeah, because I have some stuff that we'll get to later.
That some people are saying this, some people are saying that.
Yeah.
She's saying something completely
Yeah.
different. It's just, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to it, but I
Right.
was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because the only thing I know that's true is one thing and everything else is like, I have no...
Yeah, it depends on who you're asking.
Yeah. But anyway, Willow snags a key as we hear a wolf whistle from a bar patron. The harbor master begins to sing a song called The Landlord's Daughter. Musicians and patrons join in as Willow just smiles and sways. Oak, a bearded man played by Ian Campbell, sings a few lines as well, as the song tells Howie about the landlord's daughter and that he'll never love another, though she's not one you'd take home to mother.
Thanks. So I was like, do y'all just do this or is this for me?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Because it's well rehearsed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that I'm like, okay, so if this is a musical, this is just exposition.
You're just
Yeah.
introducing.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's fine. But if it's not, how many months have you been practicing? Like, what the fuck is going
They're
on?
like, someone's going to come
Yeah.
and we're going to fucking be ready.
We're going to have to introduce her.
Yeah.
But a man who has a passing resemblance to Pedro Pascal, he sings of Willow's ale, saying that it's strong to the taste. And then the song takes a very sexual turn with an old man at the bar basically saying the mere sound of her name will give you a boner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a common theme with the songs in this movie.
Yeah.
Where
Where
it's
you're
just
like,
like-
okay, yeah, for a
Yeah.
second. Then it's like, well, hold the
on.
fuck
Yeah.
on. Well, now we're talking about boners and now we're fucking in the corn rig.
Yeah, well.
In the corn rig.
I'm so confused.
I was laughing my ass off because the line of the song is enough.
Yeah.
But then they do a low angle and a man like stretches his arm like a trembling chubby.
Yeah.
And it's like
not chubby.
It's like, we got it, dude.
It's just like, stop making me sound so innocent and fun, and then pull the rug out from under me. Like, just be nasty from jump.
Yeah.
This feels like a sea shanty almost.
Right.
And then they're like, and you're fucking I was like, oh my God. You couldn't see my arm trembling, but that was
It's implied.
that was a lot. But everyone laughs, including Willow, as they drive the point home that nothing is more delightful than the part that lies between her left toe and her right toe.
What really did it for me was the fact that we saw a man flexing his feet.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't get it.
That's too much. Y'all are doing entirely too much.
Yes, and Howie does not look pleased. But Oak begins to dance suggestively behind Willow.
I was like, is this how they twerked back then?
I guess so. He's like, I generate most of the power. So, but Howie steps behind the bar and he's like, I'd like my supper now, please. And Alder tells him it'll be ready soon, but the music continues. Alder tells him not to let them worry him and just to have a drink. He's like, they're almost done objectifying my daughter. Like,
no shit.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
I'm so confused at Alder in this scene, but Howie's not down for it at all. And he smacks an ashtray on the bar until the music stops.
I know everybody was having fun, but thank you. Like, you needed to stop what was going on. It was like, this is on the verge of madness.
Yes.
It's like, something to stop. It's like,
Well, in all honesty, I was afraid of what the next verse would bring.
It's like, we're just getting worse and worse at this
Oak's fucking twerking.
yeah, no.
This is getting to be... It's getting to be a lot.
So thank you, Howie.
Yeah. But with the bar silent again, Howie really brings down the mood of the party, reminding everyone that he's here to look for a missing child. He shows the picture around, telling them her name, and as Alder passes the photo around, a peaceful guitar starts to play, and the camera glides over a wall of photos. We see in each photo a woman stands at the center, surrounded by baskets and crates overflowing with fruits and vegetables. A sculpted sun rests at their feet, with each photo marked Summer Isle, 1969, 1970, 1971, and an empty hook where 1972 should go. The wall is filled with photos of previous years as well on the other side. So, Midsommar borrowed a lot from this.
Yeah.
This was one of the big ones because of the wall of photos that they see at the place they stay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I was like, immediately, I'm sure that missing photo won't come back.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we just haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
It hasn't gotten back from the framing service. But Alder returns the photo of Rowan to Howie with zero luck, but Howie draws his attention to the Harvest Festival photos. Alder says that they take them at the end of summer every year, but when asked where the 1972 photograph is, Alder quickly says that it's broken, but that Howie's supper is ready. Willow takes him to the dining room, and we cut to a shot of his plate, which appears to be under-seasoned chicken, boiled potatoes, and some kind of veg. He moves it around with his fork and knife, saying that it's disgusting.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
He's like, damn.
Yeah. I say it's from a can.
Yes, it does.
It's raw.
Willow asks him if anything is wrong, and he tells her that all the food has come from a can, like JP just said. He says that the fava beans on his plate are a shade of turquoise, and that color isn't common in its natural state. Willow replies that some things in their natural state have the most vivid colors.
Willow?
Oh my God. Is this about between your toes?
Yeah.
Because I've heard things.
Yeah, I've heard some things.
I've heard some things. I get it. You know, whatever, the food's not good.
Yeah.
You're here already pissing people off. Like, let's be honest. You're clearly not welcome here. I don't think I would be talking shit
Dude, no.
about the food that was served to me.
And honestly, for what he knows right now, I'll be staying here one night and then I'm going back.
Just suck it up.
Yeah.
Eat your turquoise beans and take your ass to bed.
But after her thinly veiled flirtation, Howie doesn't bite, but Willow suggestively asks what he'll be wanting for dessert. He asks for an apple, but she says that they don't have any, which is peculiar on an island famous for their fruits and vegetables.
I mean, again, not everything needs a reaction.
Yeah.
No.
Like you could be like, I'd like an apple. We don't have any. Oh, well, what do you have? He's like, what? No apples. Like he's like so fucking shook.
I don't know that if he's just in detective mode.
Right.
So he's like, no apples, there's got to be a reason. Why don't you have apples?
Yeah.
I get that, but like keep that inside or
Yeah.
jot it down in your little notebook.
Yeah, maybe not
You don't
let them
need to-
know what's
Yeah,
going on.
I'm suspicious. Like you don't need to do
It's
that.
very clear. But she says the apples have probably all been exported, but then suggests the peaches and cream. And I was like, this movie's really,
Yeah.
really horny.
like that 112 song.
Yeah.
Yeah. She somehow knows about it. I don't know. But even though he assumes the peaches and cream are from a can, he accepts them anyway. But before heading back into the kitchen, Willow tells him to cheer up. Food isn't everything in life.
Willow.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
And it's funny because the second I saw her look him up and down, I was like, this is obviously going places.
Right.
She's a very beautiful woman.
Yeah. In my mind, you know, she's going to come to him in the middle of the night and be like, look,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is what's going on. You got to get me out of here, blah, blah, blah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she is beautiful. She's clearly being objectified
Oh, yeah.
by all these men, including her fucking father, who's just like, I made
Yeah.
that. Like, it's very weird. So I'm like, okay, there's a connection here. She's, you know, shooting her shot. He's not
Right.
really responding. Something's going to happen where she gets him behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But no spoilers, but I was wrong.
I mean, she's not wrong, but you know what I mean? I was just like, was like, nah. You know, I was
Yeah.
like, damn, dude.
He's got his mind on his
yeah,
business.
he's like, nah.
And I was thinking the same thing because I was like, she is very forward with him.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody, it's funny because everybody is like probably like very pissed off. Like, why is she fucking talking to him? Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's what it felt like is like she's trying to get him alone to talk to him. Like that's
Yeah.
what it felt like.
Oh, I
But
didn't.
Or
I mean,
just, yeah.
or maybe talk after.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over a cigarette. But later, Howie heads outside of the Green Man Inn and in the dark stumbles upon a massive group of people in various states of undress having sex on the ground in slow motion.
Nice group activity.
It all seemed very
Right.
consensual.
Yeah.
Are you a community or not?
Yeah, well,
Howie was shook.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, sir, if you didn't want to see fucking, you shouldn't have come to the fucking field.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Because
There's a
clearly
sign
that's what
right
this
on
there.
the itinerary.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have came.
Every night we sing that song.
Yeah,
It gets us
We
all
get
horned
nice
up.
and
yeah, you heard the drums. You shouldn't have came over here. Yeah.
But Howie continues on to the graveyard where a naked woman played by Lorraine Peters sobs at a grave, cradling it.
So this is what I was kind of saying earlier. Like everyone that was in the fucking field, yeah, maybe their shirt was open or whatever, but they all had clothes on.
They did.
And the rest of the people that are undressed in this movie are not doing anything sexual. You know what I mean? Maybe
True.
there's a song or whatever going on, but they're not doing anything. They're just there.
That's interesting.
But the people who were having sex
In the fucking field.
Yeah, in the fucking field.
It's a
had clothes
designated-
on. Yeah, designated area.
And I mean, it's interesting to point that out because it's almost like, well, I mean, I guess it fits with what we learn later about nature.
Yeah.
Like nudity is not,
Yeah.
Explicitly sexual. Yeah.
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 but having seen enough, Howie heads back into the Green Man Inn, shoving a patron out of the way and angrily snatching his room key from Alder and heading upstairs.
He's so offended.
He
Yeah.
is.
He's very, very upset.
But we see him write in a journal in his room before praying at his bedside, and we get a voiceover of him reciting a passage from the Bible before actually seeing him take communion in a flashback.
This made me laugh because he's upstairs literally writing and praying, and they're down in the bar like, I get knocked down.
Yeah.
And I get up.
They're out here pissing the night away.
I was
Fucking Chumbawamba.
Yeah.
the dichotomy of it
Oh, yeah.
very, very funny to me.
That's fucking perfect. But we see him in flashbacks reading what I learned is the Lord's Supper. I guess it's from Corinthians to his congregation, but his memory is interrupted by the cheers and shouts downstairs. And Chumbawamba, apparently.
He takes a whiskey drink. He's like, shut up.
He's like, lager drink. Yes, I know.
You've already sang this part.
These songs remind you of the best times, I know. But there's a knock on the door, and it's Willow, who we hear and see take the room next door. But the musicians downstairs begin to play as Willow, who lies naked in bed, hits her hand against the wall in percussive time and begins to sing Willow's song. Now, musically, this song is quite nice.
It is, and she leaves her heart all in it.
But Howie angrily gets into bed, trying to ignore her, as Willow, in song, invites him to be with her, recounting all the things that she'll give to him. She moves around her room as Howie slowly makes his way out of bed, opening his door. She promises him the midday sun at midnight as she shakes her ass something fierce.
I was like, this bitch is
feeling it. Like, for real.
I was like, God damn.
See, so... at this point, I was like, you're just letting your friends show that they have music talent. This isn't even, it's like, this wasn't even a real movie. It was just like, you guys get in many songs as you can. And
you're like, you guys know you're really good, right?
It's like, we're going to get a fucking deal with this movie.
Hell yeah.
It's like, we're making a movie, Dave. No.
Yeah, we can do both.
Yeah.
But this is what you were talking about, the ass shaking.
Yes.
This is a body double, so that makes 4 people who played this one character in this film. But the body double is actually Lorraine Peters, who we saw in the cemetery cradling that grave.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But there was like such a dispute about this because Britt Eklund was mad that they used a body double.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there were 3 reasons I heard that she didn't want to be filmed from the waist down.
Uh-huh.
One, they said it was because she was pregnant with her son.
Okay.
She says that that's not true because she didn't know she was pregnant at the time of filming. And the other was because simply she did not want to be filmed from the waist down.
Right.
But after she left filming her scenes that day, they brought in Lorraine Peters because I don't know if they were like...
They're like, needs more ass.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly.
They're like, it's got to be sexy. Otherwise, I'm not eating. But so they brought her in and they did it. And it was always a point of contention with Britt Eklund that this was done. And it's funny because you see the clear cuts between Britt Eklund.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, yeah.
I mean, it added a little something. I'm not going to lie. But from what I read, she gets upset because people assume that it was her.
Right.
And that when she was mad that they did that, he was like, well, you didn't. What I read was that she didn't like how her butt looked.
And first of all, it's ridiculous because she said that the butt was too big.
Oh,
what?
I mean, disagree.
I don't know.
But okay.
Strongly disagree.
This was 1973.
Yeah.
It is, and we've apparently are on 2 different wavelengths, Britt Eklund. But that was her major complaint.
What I had read was when she got upset about it, they were like, well, you said you didn't like how yours looked, so we got somebody else.
I think she said that she wishes that she would have just done it.
Well,
she's like, my ass is big. I got a flat ass. It's like, okay.
Such a weird
flex, but okay.
Good old fashioned pancake butt. It's like, what?
Like, you haven't heard that Sir Mix-a-Lot song?
Yeah, come on, man. It's on my iPod Shuffle.
But yeah, this was a major thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I can kind of understand because you know what you're doing. If I'm playing this character and then after I leave, you get somebody else to do that, people are naturally going to think it's me.
Of course. And people don't...
it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
People aren't watching the film like a hawk like we are.
Right.
For a podcast. And so they're like, wow, Britt Eklund's really...
Well, she got a donk.
Yeah.
But Howie closes his door, not giving in to temptation, but the lyrics lose a bit of their poetry as she says that she'll comb him smooth and stroke his head as she rubs a statue suggestively, then throws out an imaginary something out the window, which I can only assume to be. I'm not going to say that. But she taps the wall and smacks her naked body as Howie is fucking sweating.
He is struggling. This dude is struggling.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, what's going on?
He's like, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
No.
Like, hold on. He wants to caress more than that wall.
Yeah.
But instead, he just rushes back to bed, hoping to sleep his horniness away. Now, according to lyrics I found online, the song ends with a lot of humming and like it's a very nice ending to the song.
Well, it was like also she was doing like Stomp After Dark.
No,
like,
Yeah.
she was all banging trash cans.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great work, but the song ends actually with the lyric, "How a maid can milk a bull, and every stroke a bucket full." Now, I mean, my God. That's quite a bit. Too much, some might say.
She had to throw it out the window.
Yeah, she's like, she's like, this is a lot.
The whole drumline thing where she's banging on shit, and it lost me. I was like, please stop. I was like, what's happening?
I had no issues with this.
If you're gonna dance,
10
come
out of
on.
10.
Yeah, no.
It felt almost like ritualistic. Like she's done
Fair.
this before. That's what it felt like.
Very fair.
She's like, now I get a good sound out of this wall.
Yeah, it was
out of this side.
But I will say, and it's interesting because of all the cuts that were made.
Right.
This was originally supposed to take place on the second night that he stays in Summer Isle. And so everybody was kind of annoyed because they're like, she is getting naked way too fast to make sense in this film. That's what the producers were saying with the cuts.
Yeah.
But I feel like it streamlines the whole thing.
Yeah.
It does.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this being the first night.
I feel like, and I was going to say it is more subtle than what goes on. I know she's ass naked and singing and banging on shit, but things ramp up.
Yeah.
And
he
doesn't know that she's naked.
Yeah.
We do.
doesn't.
Well,
He's hoping.
But this is his imagination.
Not only that, did we just have the fucking field before this?
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like if we did this the second night, it's like, well, of course she's doing that.
Yeah.
Right now, it's shocking.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
and again, my man was struggling
Yeah, he was.
to stay in his bed,
God.
to stay in his room.
His fucking sweating face.
yeah.
But the next morning, a crowd of people applaud as a maypole is decorated outside. Inside his room, Howie is woken up by Willow, who brings him tea, calling him Sergeant Sleuth, which is interesting because the movie Schaefer made before was called Sleuth.
Right.
I don't know if he was trying to just, I'm May.
Yeah.
Probably.
But finding that it's past 9, Howie rises out of bed, clutching his shirt to cover his nips. I could have said that nicer.
Yeah, whatever.
But Willow opens the drapes, telling him that she invited him to see her last night and thought he was going to come.
I was a little surprised that we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Me too.
Because I thought the next morning everybody was going to act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But not only did she invite herself into his room,
Yeah.
she's like, so you didn't come over or what? Like I was surprised.
And again, I have to say, if this is a film, that's very strange that she did that. If this is a musical, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I invited you over. It's like, no, you sang a whole song. Yeah.
You were smacking your ass.
Yeah, you said you were going to milk me. What the fuck? I was worried.
But Howie says that he's engaged to be married and that it's nothing personal. He just doesn't believe in it before marriage. Now, he doesn't say sex, which could be down to like him being all puritanical.
Right.
But him not saying sex makes it like, no, after I'm married, I'm going to cheat a lot.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's engaged.
Yeah.
I was
that
like,
was a little
I
weird.
guess that's why he was fucking fighting for his life last night.
He's like, think of Marilyn. Don't or whatever. There is someone credited as Howie's girlfriend or Howie's fiance or whatever. We never see her in the film.
Yeah.
It must
so
have been,
probably cut.
Yeah.
Cut scene.
But she tells him to suit himself and says she assumes he'll be going back to the mainland today because with the way he feels, he won't want to be around on May Day.
She's like, things get even sexier on May Day.
But we cut to Howie walking outside as a musician starts working a mouth harp. A whole band joins in as the schoolmaster, played by Walter Carr, begins singing the Maypole song with his students around the Maypole. All the students are boys, which comes into play later because of what we see. But the song takes you through the whole life cycle of humans and nature. And to be honest, they are fucking working it.
I was like, these motherfuckers are spitting.
Okay, so I told you I rewatched this movie.
Yeah.
I was replying to a message on my phone, and the second the song starts, I put my phone down because I'm like, in the summer house, like fucking just breaking it down. I think the thing that makes me laugh is that it does take a turn because it starts very innocently.
Right.
That again.
But
that's
then
the theme with these songs.
The fucking school teacher goes, and on that bed, there was a girl. I'm like, okay, yeah, she's sleeping or whatever. And on that girl, there was a man. I'm like, hold on.
It takes a turn. How he's like, they better be married.
Yeah, seriously. You better sing about a ring real soon.
Right?
And the kids are just fucking vibing to it.
Yeah.
And like pelvic thrusting in the background at one point. It's just very... It seems like a cute little, life cycle of a tree. Like we all return to the earth. But then, in the middle of it, they're fucking and there's seed. And it's a lot. I feel like if I went to my kids' school and they were performing this on a stage, I'd probably have some feelings about it. I don't know. It's just...
He'd be like, Skinner, this act is over. It takes it from copulation to birth to adulthood to death to life sprouting from the grave in the form of a tree. And again, it doesn't get better than the high-pitched crooner singing Summer Isle Wood.
Yeah. And again, the messaging, I think, is very good.
Yes.
But you don't need to be talking about seed and a man being on a woman. And
I think it's funny because the school teacher has like hand motions.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing the Naruto fucking hand signals. He looks funny. My problem with this...
He looks funny.
Yeah, this went on entirely too long.
Oh, no, they reversed this.
Yeah, and I think it went too hard for me trying to, this broke me taking this movie serious.
Okay.
And I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. I won't lie, they were going, and I was like, okay, they're filling this shit.
Yeah.
But when it kept going, I was like, God damn.
I will say that I know that, I guess, the film watcher in me that's like about pacing is like, this is going on too long. But then there's the other side of me that is like just singing along and on that bed. But
it put me honestly in the mind of the Birds.
Yes.
But I'm like, I like this song better.
Yeah, I would actually listen to this.
No.
Yeah, I would drive and be like, in a summer house.
I was feeling the Corn song earlier.
All right, yeah.
Hey, nobody's talking shit on the Corn Rig song.
Corn Rigs is great. We all agree. But Howie just watches as they continue killing it. And in a really neat shot, we see the shadow of the maypole seemingly growing out of the shadow of the body of the schoolmaster. So it's like the song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's visually very cool. It did make me laugh though, because I'm like, at this point, he's not even questioning people anymore. He's just staring at people judgmentally. Like he's just scowling at these kids, working their asses off. Like they've been practicing clearly
for a year. But Howie peers into a classroom full of girls led by Miss Rose, played by Diane Salento. Now, I read that Diane Salento was semi-retired at the time, but the writer Schaefer saw her in a play and convinced her to join the cast. She was actually in the process of divorcing Sean Connery.
Oh, shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And, which I know that we all appreciate here, after meeting Schaefer on this production, they would later marry.
Oh, I love it.
And they stayed together until he passed away in 2001.
I love when that happens. Not when he passes
No, but
it's very sweet.
I love that.
But the girls are tapping their pencils.
they're going hard in there too.
They're the percussion to this song, because the song is still going on.
Yeah.
No, the song is very long.
Yeah. But eventually Miss Rose is like, all right. We all are enjoying the shit out of this, but we are in school for a reason. It's time to learn.
Well, even the teacher was banging his
Yeah, she was on beat. It was like she was the conductor. But she asks a girl, Daisy, played by Leslie Mackey, to explain the significance of the maypole. Howie makes his way into the classroom, and after Daisy is too shy to answer, the entire class answers in unison. The phallic symbol.
I was like,
Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah.
like, man, oh, well, that looks like a dick.
But Miss Rose says that they're correct. The maypole represents the penis, which is very respected in their religion as it is seen as the generative force of nature. Howie makes his presence known, asking for a word with Miss Rose in the hall.
He's like, hold on.
Yeah.
Were you just talking about dicks with those kids? It's like, no.
I need to speak to you outside. He basically tells her that after seeing bar fights, public indecency, and now corruption of the young, he's going to report it to the proper authorities. Now, the bar fight is something that was cut.
Yeah, I was like, they were all having a great time.
Yeah, I never saw. Apparently, it's on the cutting room floor, but Oak, I guess, whooped someone's ass.
What? Why Chumbawamba was going on?
How could you?
Yeah.
But he says that all of this stems from the filth that's being taught in this classroom.
It's like, okay, I'm not going to lie. He's a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say from when he first gets to the island because I really did sympathize with him at that point. But I feel like from the bar on, he's just kind of like, man, like the whole time.
Not
that I agree with everything that they're saying to these kids or doing, but it's like, do your job, either investigate this girl or you've already come up with enough to go back and bring more people.
Uh-huh.
He's just a dick here. Like, I mean, starting here in the classroom, I'm like, oh, I just can't. Like, I just don't like you at all.
No, it oddly switches for me because he came, like I said, with a noble pursuit. But now, and I think this is the point is even here, like, she literally says that it's their religion.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the permission has been given. She hasn't said, like, we don't know. There's nothing really nefarious that we can point to at the moment.
Right.
Just weird.
Literally, all she said was the word penis, and he's like, heavens to Betsy.
Yeah.
Like, nothing out of, really, this couldn't be taught in a sex ed class?
Yeah, that's, I think me and your sister had kind of talked about it the other day, and I was like, I don't see anything wrong with what she's saying. I mean, it's not like she's like, you see this fucking throbbing cock?
It's like,
yeah.
Throbbing.
I need to speak to you outside.
Yeah. Like, whoa, hold on. But she said penis.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And phallic.
Yeah.
I mean, they are using biological
Proper
terms.
terms.
Yeah. So it's like you don't agree. And we already saw like your little montage of you body of Christ or whatever.
Uh-huh.
They don't believe what you believe.
Right.
And so you're mad about that when really this all should be about this missing girl.
Right.
But I feel like this is where he kind of starts to lose. I don't know if motivation's the right word or switch motivations.
Right.
To kind of shake these people up to get to what's going on. Because after a certain point, it doesn't even necessarily fully feel like it's about Rowan Morrison.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, I don't believe what these people believe. They're disgusting.
Yeah.
They're against God, and I'm going to bring the whole thing down. Like, that's what it feels like.
It's like he wants to fix the island.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's not what you're here for.
That's never a good thing.
No.
Whenever people try to do that, it does not end up good.
And interestingly, this will follow.
Right. And this is no exception.
Nah. But Miss Rose isn't backing down from his threats, and she's like, oh, I didn't realize that the curriculum was controlled by the police. He says that they'll see about that, and then asks for the attention of the class.
But it's like, it's not.
Yeah.
But he introduces himself and then passes around the photo of Rowan Morrison, writing her name on the blackboard after erasing part of Mrs. Rose's lesson to do so.
That's when I was like, I was hanging on by a thread, and when he did that, I'm like, oh, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, he's like,
because
you don't need this shit. Rowan.
He could have just said the girl's name. He's like, and I'm going to write her name. It's like, no, they
you
don't.
don't need to.
I didn't. I'm still, I just feel like things are getting muddy for him.
Okay.
His judgment's getting clouded. I understand he's there to find this girl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's getting clouded by his own judgment of, oh, this is wrong because they don't believe what he believes.
But he hasn't crossed the line for you yet.
I mean, he does at some point, but I mean, I understand, you know what I mean, that you're here for a job.
Yes.
You don't need to be here to tell these people how to live.
Exactly.
Find the little girl and then go on about your business. You don't need to do all this other shit. So I don't want to be me and your sister kind of talked this morning too, and I was like, I don't see him as the villain. You know what I mean? I do understand where he's coming off as an asshole, and it is wrong him trying to like force his beliefs on them and like, you guys are wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's there for the right reason, but he's doing the wrong things while he's there.
I think his thing, if for me, like, if he just stuck to the Rowan stuff and he wasn't like, I'll be reporting this.
No,
That's the thing. It's like
dude,
first of all, mind your own business.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe what everybody else does, but just don't be a dick.
No,
I feel like that's just like a code of life.
Yeah.
Like not everybody's going to believe the same thing, but that doesn't mean that you should belittle other people for what they think or be like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, this man is serious.
Dude, there's a moment that he hears something and he goes, what?
Yeah.
And it's so like visceral.
He's fucking Plus, I just really didn't appreciate that woman. Teachers, it's an unsung profession. She took her time to write all that shit on the blackboard, and he just fucking like that really rubbed me the wrong way.
No, that's what I'm saying. I see where he's doing the wrong things, but I do understand that he's there for, in his head, for that girl.
Yes.
He's trying to do, but he's going about it the wrong way.
It's again the road to hell. He's starting with very good intentions.
Yeah, but he's a dick.
But none of the girls recognize Rowan, and Miss Rose tries to bring this whole thing to an end with the quickness. She says if Rowan existed, they would know of her. But Howie notices an empty desk at the center of the room, and he asks, whose desk is that? Miss Rose says it's no one's. But Howie collects his photo and opens up the desk, finding a beetle wrapped in string walking in circles around a nail. And this isn't like just beetle hell or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this, to me, bears a striking resemblance to the maypole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels very symbolic, but it's what this little girl says.
Yeah.
As the girls laugh, Daisy tells him that the beetle does the same thing, goes round and round like that until he ends up tight around the nail.
That's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I also think that this little girl probably needs some intervention because she's taking a lot of pleasure in this beetle being tortured.
This beetle up all day, every day. We don't even learn anything, dude. We just come here to terrorize this beetle.
We make beats and we fuck this beetle up.
But I thought that this was almost foreshadowing if you think about it.
For sure.
And I really love how it's presented. But she says, poor old thing. And the girls laugh more. Howie's like, poor old thing? Then what the hell are you doing this for? When he doesn't get an answer, Howie asks Miss Rose for the school register. She tells him that he'll have to have either a warrant or permission from Lord Summerisle, but he just barges his way into her desk to retrieve it. Right there, in black and white, he finds Rowan Morris's name, as well as her address listed as the post office.
This is what, because clearly you're all hiding something.
Yes.
It was odd to me that the empty desk is in the middle of the room. If it were an extra desk, don't you think it would be in the back? Or that was weird. I'm like, okay, so clearly that's her desk. You check in the thing. I'm like, y'all didn't think to doctor the registry? Like, it was all really weird. And so for a split moment, I'm like, is Rowan the beetle?
It's like, oh, we turned.
Like literally, I'm like, what has happened here? Because y'all aren't even, like, you're really half-assed hiding it.
Yeah, see, that's kind of, and I had that in my notes as well. It's kind of like, so, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's still here looking for the girl. So at least I'm like, okay, at least you kind of are still on track. But she did try to hide it and very, like, just put her hands on the corner of the desk.
No, you can't. He's like, yes, I can.
And he finds it. But I thought the same thing. I was like, man, this is kind of easy for you to find this evidence that's supposed to be gone or whatever.
It's not even crossed out. It's not like, it's just plain as day in the middle of the thing.
And for this grand conspiracy, you guys are being real fucking clumsy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think that's what I love about the rewatch value of this film, because all this stuff makes perfect sense the second you finish
it.
Yeah. But he calls all the girls despicable little liars, calling them on all their bullshit. And when Miss Rose interrupts him, he says, "You're the biggest liar of all."
That felt personal.
And he threatens to charge her with obstruction if she lies again. He asks one more time, "Where is Rowan Morrison?" Miss Rose puts the class on self-study and offers to talk to him outside. Once they're out there, she tells him that nobody was lying to him. She repeats what she said earlier. If Rowan Morrison existed, they would know of her. Howie takes us to mean that she's dead, and Miss Rose says that they don't use that word here. They believe that when a human life is over, they return to nature. Howie is in disbelief that they teach the children this instead of Christianity, but she tells them that they discuss Christianity comparatively, but children find it easier to believe in reincarnation over resurrection. She says rotting bodies are a roadblock for a childish imagination.
I mean, like, kind of same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I 100% get that. But it just strikes me how disrespectful he is.
No,
because this isn't what you're here for. Like, this isn't part of the case.
This part offends me personally.
It's just so fucking mean. It's just like condescending. Like, you don't think how I think, you're wrong, and that's fucked up. Like, I mean, he's just so hostile about it.
And this is when I lost like kind of all whatever for him, because she says that line about rotting bodies being a roadblock. And he says, "Well, then where's Rowan's rotting body?"
Yeah, I was like, God damn.
It's like, for all you know, this was a student that she loved.
Yeah.
And you're like, where's her fucking wormy corpse?
Well, he's fed up.
Jesus, man.
Not to defend him, but like, she is speaking in riddles.
Yeah.
And so I can see him be like, just fucking, where's the body? Like, can we just cut to the chase?
See, I'm like, okay, she's obviously telling you, look, we don't say dead. You know, they go back to the earth, come back. Okay, so if you're translating that, okay, then you're saying she passed away.
Yeah.
She's been buried. You know, she's coming back as a tree or whatever. I just need to go home now. You told me what I needed to know.
The child.
She's gone. There's nothing I can do about it. I just go home.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that sucks. Or like you said, I have enough evidence here. This statement she just gave me, maybe I need to go get help.
I would be like, okay, I totally understand. Thank you for clearing that up. Let me go get on my fucking, evil eye dinghy or whatever. Yeah, I'm gone. I'm fucking leaving, and I'm not coming back without more people.
Yeah.
And like, it's totally shifted at this point with her saying that this is no longer a missing persons case.
No.
It's possibly a murder investigation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think he's being an asshole.
He didn't need to be an asshole.
No.
Like, that's what I'm saying. He could have just been like, cool, you said what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
Good.
And it all boils back down to me. Who sent that letter? Somebody sent him that letter.
Exactly. And why?
Yeah.
But she tells him that her body is in the earth. They get into a semantic argument over the use of the word church, as it's really just a building now, as it's no longer used for Christian worship, but her body is buried outside of the building that used to be a church. Miss Rose returns to her children as Howie walks past the now empty maypole and into the graveyard. I'm sad that the song is over, but they got other shit to do today. But he finds a grave that reads, "Here lies Beach Buchanan, protected by the ejaculation of serpents."
I'm sorry?
All right.
I was unaware. I don't even know what to make of that. But he continues on past gravestones and markers, eventually stumbling upon a woman played by Barbara Rafferty, breastfeeding a baby and balancing an egg in one hand. I understand the egg is like a representation of fertility.
Right.
But Howie just needs to leave the island. This place is not for you.
Yeah, clearly you cannot hang
No.
at all.
And it's funny to me because I think that he's seen so much that he literally has no reaction to this, which is surprising because he's kind of had something to say about everything.
Yeah.
But his eyes peer over to a couple of baskets labeled Summer Isle apples. He fucking smashes them in anger, and then he collects 2 planks of wood from them. He splits one and shoves the other down into it, forming a crucifix. I thought it was interesting because the way he did it kind of implied penetration.
I didn't see it at the time, but I can kind of see that. I just took it as extremely disrespectful because this is not what that person believed.
Right.
And so it's kind of desecrating them.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, it just, I was just wow.
Like you should have believed in this.
This has nothing to do with you. So you did that for yourself. I mean, everything about that, I was a little shook.
He's freaking out.
He is.
Yeah.
And again, he's continuing to lose me.
Yeah.
But he turns to leave and bumps into an old gardener / gravedigger played by Aubrey Morris. Howie asks him about the trees planted on the graves in the cemetery and directs his attention to a small tree growing out of the ground, asking what kind it is. The gardener says it's a rowan, as that's where Rowan Morrison is buried.
I was like, okay, after talking to the teacher who was nothing but riddles, this man is like, oh, she's right there.
I was like, oh my God, why didn't I just come talk to you?
Yeah, I was very surprised.
But he says that she's been dead for 6 or 7 months, but they're late with the headstone. I was like, that's odd that he's not like, we don't say that here.
Yeah.
Because he asks, how long has Rowan been dead?
True. He's like, oh, she's been dead about.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Are you new to the island? But Howie notices what appears to be a piece of skin hanging from the tree, and the gardener tells him that it's Rowan's umbilical cord. He's like, where else would it go? Howie asks where his minister lives, and of course, the gardener is not about that life and just chuckles. He gets a very good laugh, too.
Yeah, he laughs pretty hard.
He's like, a minister! And then the scene just ends. But Howie heads back to the post office, and inside, okay, so Myrtle has a sore throat, right? May's solution for her daughter's sore throat is to shove a live frog into her mouth.
Right.
And after a moment, she pops the frog out and gives her a candy for her trouble.
All right.
Now, I've heard of a frog in your throat, but this is...
Yeah, I didn't understand what kind of magic this was.
Have you tried it, though?
No. What if it cleared...
You
like,
mean
what
you don't lick toad?
No.
No?
It gets chills all through your body.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh because he's like watching this happen in the background and he doesn't even say anything.
No, again, I think they broke him.
Yeah,
I do.
Of course, you're holding a frog in your mouth. Of course,
why not? But Howie just makes his way to the back, which is funny to me because it's like, yeah, you came back here once. That doesn't mean you can just keep coming back here. But May asks if they can help him, and he says that they can't, seeing that they're all raving mad. I thought it was odd that he didn't ask about Rowan at all.
Yeah.
That is weird because even in her registration stuff, it said that is her house.
Yeah.
But he doesn't ask one question.
So he the teacher's the biggest liar of them all, but
but you're fine.
Her mother.
Well,
okay.
the frog. He was like, no, I'm not even gonna ask.
Not at all. I did laugh because she put the frog in a glass box. And she's like, now the frog has your sore throat. Now I'm like, he didn't sign up for it.
He's like, you motherfucker.
What the fuck? You tricked me. But instead of interrogating her anymore, he just heads to the registrar's office and meets with the librarian played by Ingrid Pitt. He asks her for the index of death, but she won't release it without permission from Lord Summerisle. He threatens her with jail time if she doesn't comply, so she stops eating her lunch to retrieve it for him.
When she goes in her drawer to get the paperwork, she takes out a can of peaches and puts it on the desk and looks at him like, yeah, I know. I was just surprised he didn't further Gordon Ramsay her.
Yeah, that's true. The thing about that, though, is, and I didn't even realize it until this moment, it all makes sense why everything's canned.
Yes.
And we learn.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, I don't like it any more than you do.
It's a living.
But in the ledger, he finds the names Benjamin and Rachel Morrison, saying that they're names from the Bible, and the librarian says, yes, they were very old. But the peculiar thing is that there's no record of Rowan's death. Incidentally, that means that there's no death certificate either. He hands the book back to the librarian, asking if she knew Rowan, and she says, of course she did.
So this is the first.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they were kind of forced to admit that they knew her, the teacher, but this is the first person he's asked, and of course,
just straight up.
I mean, the gravedigger was like, yeah, that's her grave. But I mean, the first person that's like, oh no, yeah, I knew her.
Yeah. He even shows her the picture, and the librarian confirms her identity. But when she's asked how Rowan died, she says she doesn't know anything about Rowan at all. So he just thanks her and leaves.
Well, it's like, but you just said...
Yeah, but... See, people change their stories in 2 seconds and he never asked... Did they teach you, any follow-up questions at all? He's just like, yeah, and good day, ma'am. But in the next scene, we open on a massive jar labeled foreskins. All right. The camera pans.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do. But the camera pans across preserved bugs as well as labeled organs cast in resin. Howie interviews the man working in the shop, T.H. Lennox, played by Donald Eccles. He was the man singing about boners earlier.
We meet again.
Yeah. But more importantly, Howie identifies him as the man who takes the photos at the end of the harvest festivals. He asks Lennox about last year's photograph, and Lennox is surprised to learn that it's damaged and not hanging with the others, like Alder told him. Even worse, there are no copies of this photo. So very annoyed, Howie shows him Rowan's photograph again, as he already did once in the Green Man Inn, asking whether or not she was in the 1972 photo. Lennox pleads the fifth. He literally stands there silent.
It's like, thanks for nothing.
It's like,
dude.
Yeah, no shit.
You're not even
At
trying.
least make the effort to lie to me.
But in a montage of Howie riding in a carriage and some rather phallic-shaped shrubbery, we're once again treated to the song.
Yeah.
Corn rigs.
I was like, it's back.
Yeah, dude.
I was so happy. But it made me laugh because he's being pulled on that horse-drawn carriage.
Uh-huh.
And I've never seen somebody so angry sitting in the back.
No, he's fucking pissed. But we then see in hazy cinematography, a group of naked girls are sat in a circle in a large field around a fire as Miss Rose joins them in a white dress. She takes a bit of red flowers, holds them close to her face, and then tosses it into the fire. The girls dance nude around the fire, singing the song Fire Leap. In the song, they tell her to take the flame inside of her to make the baby strong, make it grow, make it stay, make it cry, and eventually make it king. We see a pregnant woman walking through a field in cutaways, but then we see Howie arrive on the scene in that carriage he was riding in earlier. Seeing all the naked women, he just turns away like, everywhere I fucking look.
He turns away like stupid, sexy women feeling free in their stupid, sexy bodies. He's like the poster child for repression.
Yes.
Like it's very clear why you're so angry, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
And I think that is something that really comes up in just a little bit with Lord Summerisle, is this kind of battle between, I guess, societal expectations of what you were taught and the free will to be what desires are inside of you.
Right.
Because this man, again, is sweating.
Yeah.
He's fighting for his life.
But the carriage continues onto a beautiful and massive property. Inside the large house, Broom, played by Roy Boyd, who looks a lot less like Pedro Pascal in The Light of Day, tells Howie that Lord Summerisle has been expecting him. But Howie walks past a wall of vintage firearms and swords and into a room with a large organ. After surveying an incredible array of wooden furniture, he walks over to the window and sees the girls dancing naked around the fire off in the distance. It suddenly looks like Stonehenge now.
Yes.
I was going to ask about that.
I have no idea, but I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they come to it later again.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And it's very clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know if
It's
it's
like, all
modeled or if this is like.
I don't know.
Did you guys film
Yeah.
at Stonehenge? But he stares a little longer than someone who is disgusted by what he sees.
Exactly.
But he is interrupted by Lord Summerisle, played by the one and only, the iconic Sir Christopher Lee.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yes.
His voice is so commanding. Like, I can't get over how good he is in this role.
And he is.
And he is.
The hairdo was a little for me. It was.
I think that goes to us knowing old Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm like, I've never seen.
And no, not at all. But I also feel like everything about him needs to be in such stark contrast to Howie.
Uh-huh.
You know, so maybe his hair's a little, maybe it's a little unkempt.
That's true. He's like his opposite or whatever.
Yeah.
He's Bizarro Howie. So I feel like Christopher Lee is one of those actors that no matter how old you are, no matter who you are, there is something that you've seen with him in it.
For sure.
And you love him for a reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I did hear a lot in several interviews that of all the films he's been a part of ever, this is his favorite.
That's a tall claim because he's been in everything.
Exactly. I was very blown away to hear that. And he cared about this film so much. Like I said, he was promoting it and stuff in the States on his own dime doing this.
Nice.
And he was not paid at all for this film.
Really?
That's amazing.
Damn, okay.
He said that the way that the budget was, he said some films you do for a paycheck.
Yeah.
Some films you do for love.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I could see that with this movie. Yeah. A lot of the choreography and a lot of them, even, you know what I mean? They had to work together to learn all this shit.
Oh, yeah.
I bet they were having a blast fucking rehearsing doing this.
It's funny to me that, again, he's worked with Scorsese, Tim Burton, fucking and he's the Wicker Man. But he says that he hopes the sight of the young people refreshes him, but Howie says that it does not.
I just can't stand him.
Summer Isle says that he heard that he's looking for a girl, and Howie says that he's found Rowan in her grave. He asks for permission to exhume the body to be taken to the mainland for a pathologist's report. He says he suspects murder and the conspiracy to commit murder. With a smile, Summer Isle gives him the go-ahead. Howie calls out Summer Isle's seeming lack of concern, but Summer Isle says that due to their religion, he confidently believes that nobody here would commit murder. This opens the door for Howie to just shit all over his religion and everything that he's seen so far on the island. Summer Isle just walks over to the piano and plays a bit of Fire Leap, which was that was a flex, and I was very pleased by that. But he says that the girls dancing outside love their divinity lessons. Howie once again remarks that they're naked, and Summer Isle says that it's much too dangerous to leap through fire fully clothed.
He's like, duh.
Fucking idiot. But Howie asks what they could possibly be learning by doing that, and Summer Isle says parthenogenesis, or reproduction without sexual union. Howie is flabbergasted. He says fake biology, fake religion, and he asks if they've ever heard of Jesus Christ. Summer Isle has his number, though, and he says, the same Jesus who was born of a virgin mother impregnated by a ghost?
Tell him. This is one of my favorite moments in the whole film because it really... It's like, okay, if our shit doesn't make sense, your shit doesn't make sense either.
Absolutely.
It's like you could, if you want to poke holes, we could do that all day with anything.
And I think that's what confuses me so much about disputes with religion is that once you start peeling layers, it's like leave the onion as is.
Yes. It's just, and his face was like,
he was speechless.
Fuck you.
Yeah. But Summer Isle asks him to sit down, remarking that shocks are so much easier absorbed with the knees bent.
I'm already like, okay, Summer Isle, I'll go into battle. And what do you need?
What's funny is that Howard immediately obliges, but I'm like, dude, Christopher Lee tells you to do it. Yes, sir.
Yeah. You got him.
Just so commanding. But Summer Isle explains that the girls are jumping through flames, hoping that it will make them fruitful. He says it's better to be impregnated by a god than some acne-scarred artisan. I mean...
Right.
All right.
But he says that it's important for every generation on Summer Isle to understand that the old gods aren't dead. Howie asks about the true god, the Christian god. Summer Isle says, oh, he's dead.
Speaking of dead.
He says that god had his chance and he blew it. Howie, infuriated, rises to his feet. He's like, what?
I have in my notes that his reaction to he blew it was he'd never been more shocked in his life.
But Summer Isle continues, showing Howie old photos of settlers struggling through the seasons. But in 1868, Summer Isle's grandfather bought this island and changed everything. They move into the dining room where Summer Isle explains that what drew his grandfather to the island, aside from what he calls the profuse source of wiry labor, was the volcanic soil in the Gulf Stream that surrounded it. Heading outside and into a gorgeous garden, Summer Isle says that this soil and the conditions of the island allowed them to grow and develop new strains of fruit. He figured the way to energize the people was to bring back the old gods, and in doing so, would bring them an abundance of fruits in their harvests. They started to follow his grandfather at first because he gave them food and clothes, but after the fruit started coming in, everything changed. The ministers fled the island and never returned. Summer Isle says what his grandfather started out of expediency, his father continued out of love. As they continue through the garden, Howie munching on a piece of fruit, I guess?
Yeah. I was like, why are you snacking?
Yeah.
I thought you were mad.
It's like, you filming this on break? Like, Summer Isle recounts his upbringing, how his father taught him how to revere the culture of the old gods, to love nature, fear it, rely on it, and appease it. Howie shouts that he was raised to be a pagan, but Summer Isle counters that he's a heathen to be sure, but an enlightened one.
See, you were supposed to be here for the girl. You're now you're bringing God and all. I know he was before and he was criticizing it, but now you're just, this whole conversation, you've just been shitting on this dude.
100%.
You know what I mean? Then he tells you, you know what I mean, what's going on, and you don't like it.
Yeah, and literally none of this needs to be anything more than just learning what they believe.
And he says pagan like it's an insult. Like it's like dripping with disgust.
Yeah.
It's at this point where I'm like, it doesn't even feel like you're here about Rowan anymore.
No.
Like, this entire conversation, when you just be like, okay, but you gave me permission to exhume her. Okay, thank you. Good day. Like that should have been it.
That's it.
And maybe even redirect back, but he's just like, what else did your fucking father do?
Yeah. It's like, what is your problem?
It's crazy, but all Howie cares about is the law, and he reminds Summer Isle that despite everything, he's still the subject of a Christian country. He once again asks for permission to exhume Rowan's body, but Summer Isle reminds him that he already granted him permission.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They were still in the house when that happened.
Yeah.
He's so caught up with this religion stuff that he's just fucking zonked.
He's like, why am I here again?
Yeah. And your name, sir? But just then, the carriage arrives to take Howie away. The camera focuses on some kind of trinket hanging from a tree and swinging in the breeze. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't either. And I was like, oh, that's going to come back. And
Yeah.
it just
No, it
didn't.
is not. We cut to black and we never see it again. But in the dead of night, the old gardener helps Howie to remove Rowan's coffin from her grave. But when they finally pry it open, the men look inside. Howie looks confused and the old gardener just laughs.
He laughs his ass off.
Yeah.
I was like, first of all, he did not need to laugh at him like that.
Yeah.
The little girl did say that she was a hare.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what we see.
Yeah.
He continues to cackle.
Yeah.
But the camera presses in on the dead body of a hare. So that's my thing, is like, Myrtle kind of is being a kid.
Right.
And we'll get into it later, but I think might have said something that she shouldn't
She
have
wasn't
said.
supposed to.
Yeah.
I like that because kids will do that.
Right.
Yeah.
It just, that gardener, grave digger, whatever, it's like, when you love what you do, you never work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen anybody that happy at work.
See how happy he is when he's got to fill that hole now.
Yeah.
He's like, damn it.
Well, even earlier, he was like, a minister.
Yeah.
Like, he's having a blast, dude.
But they kind of do.
Huh.
Summer Isle.
Well, I mean, if it's a thesaurus.
Yeah.
I can't even fucking talk. I was so flabbergasted by the point that was made. You're on fucking wasp spray, and the thesaurus. I think I got electrocuted.
It's the power of Christ.
Yeah. I
He's
was
like, watch your
compelled.
mouth.
Yeah. Be careful now. But Howie rushes back to Summer Isle's estate, where he finds him playing piano as Miss Rose lies on the floor with a glass of wine, singing the song Tinker of Rye.
They're getting it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
It's great. And his I think it's called a baritone.
Yeah.
He's killing it. But the song is clearly about banging.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's great.
Every song.
Yes.
But they had the decency on this song to start with banging.
Yeah.
But Summer Isle joyously joins in on the chorus, but their good time is interrupted when Howie tosses the dead hare right in front of them.
He did not need to do that.
Yeah.
I laughed because he was carrying it in his bare hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, go wash. First of all, that's how bunny pox got started. But That was just insulting.
And he carried it the whole way there.
She's like laying with her wine and it's all sensual. And he's like, nah. That's just rude.
On the rug, man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
What do you say? A little decorum, please.
Yeah. But he tells them that he found the hair in Rowan's grave, and Summer Isle only remarks that Rowan loved the March hares. It's like, yeah, her mom told me that.
Yeah.
But Miss Rose agrees, and Howie calls it all sacrilegious, but the ground isn't consecrated to Christian beliefs.
Yeah.
So, no. But Miss Rose herself says that it's a very lovely transmutation. Howie, who says that he will no longer be made a fool of, interesting.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Once again asks where Rowan is. Miss Rose directs his attention to the hair, saying that she's right there physically, but before she can say where her soul is, Howie asks Summer Isle where Rowan is. He reminds Howie that he's the detective, so yeah, where is she?
I love him.
He's great. I feel bad loving this dude so much because you know that Howie's coming at it from a place, he's trying to find a missing girl, but Summer Isle's killing it, man. Like, I love
it's
this
like, no,
dude.
why don't you have a fucking seat? It's like, oh.
Yeah, the knees bent or whatever. Like, God damn. But Howie recounts the events so far. He was called to the island to search for a missing girl. He was told the child didn't exist. He finds out that she does exist, but that she's dead, but there's no death certificate. But he finds a grave, but the grave has no body.
And in that grave, there was
Summer Isle.
He's like, fuck no, I'm singing.
Yeah, God damn it. That was catchy. I'm sorry. I'm not immune. But Howie has a theory. Rowan Morrison was murdered under some kind of pagan barbarity, and he says that he plans to report this to the chief constable tomorrow and call for a full investigation to take place on the island.
Okay, so they have been giving him the Blues Traveler runaround.
Yeah.
Right? I understand the frustration.
Yeah.
But maybe if we're still staying the night here, don't say all that.
That is
He's like, I'm going to sleep and be vulnerable, and then I'm fucking leaving and coming back. It's like, no.
Dude,
be quiet.
This is why I'm saying, why didn't you bring backup?
Yeah.
Like, you are alone on this island full of people who seem to like each other a lot.
Yeah.
And seem to get along well enough to maybe take part in what another conspiracy.
Right.
Since you already believe that one already happened.
Yes.
If they're going to disappear a little girl on the island that they knew, you're a fucking
what are they
nobody.
going to do to you?
Yeah. But Summer Isle rings a bell, summoning Broom to take Howie away, saying it's good that he's leaving tomorrow so that he won't have to be subjected to the May Day celebration. In a badass singing voice, Summer Isle hops back into song with Miss Rose.
He's like, no, where were we?
Yeah. He walks over and he's like, I was like, oh my God. Like, Howie doesn't even exist to him anymore.
Yeah. Oh, you know, after the song, they were fucking.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
They probably were before the song, too.
Or maybe during. I don't know.
Clean up the hair, though.
Yeah,
Don't
we
do that.
We can't. No,
none of that.
Rowan's just a child. You
Yeah,
need to get her out of here.
Put her to bed. But Howie just leaves. And oddly, I did think that he was going to be leaving the island at this point.
Nope.
But he immediately heads to Lennox's shop and breaks in, sneaking into the back room and going through folders of photographs. Eventually, he finds what I believe are the negatives from 1972. They weren't buried under a highway somewhere. And after developing them, he finds photographic evidence of a poor yield of crops from that year. And in the photo, surrounded by 0 baskets of fruit, is a smiling Rowan Morrison.
She's like, I was like, she's celebrating the failed crops. She looks happy as
She
fuck.
does.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I'm the May Queen, so fuck it. But Howie understands now. Rowan was sacrificed. Looking at a calendar with May the 1st circled, he remembers Summer Isle telling him that it would be best for him not to be here for the celebration tomorrow.
Could this count as a research scene? Because it sure felt like one.
This is
Kind of.
one, and the next scene
Even
definitely.
more?
Yeah.
The next morning, a group of children proceed in a line, holding a doll at the front, proclaiming that they're carrying death out of their village. Inside of a library, Howie does that customary research thing, reading up on May Day festivals and traditions. He reads that the purpose of spring festivals was to ensure a plentiful autumn as people lived or died by their harvests. But in modern day, the book says that the festivals are more harmless, but it recounts the usual cast of characters that one would see during a celebration. a man on a hobby horse, a woman who plays the role of a teaser, and a fool called Punch, I'm assuming from Punch and Judy fame.
Yeah.
Who is given the role of king for a day. Now, they're just picking and choosing shit because Punch is of English origin.
Punch is like a...
Commedia dell'arte.
Exactly. An iteration of the fool, the clown from that.
Yeah, so it's not fucking ancient Celtic.
No. Yeah.
But
they're like, this will sound good.
Yeah.
It's like, you should see the costume.
And honestly, and I bought it until I thought about it a little bit longer. I was like, wait a minute.
Don't dig too deep. Just accept
Just
what
let
you're
it go.
being given. Yeah.
But the book says that 6 swordsmen follow behind them, and at the end of the ceremony, they interlock their swords in the symbol of the sun. Back in the day, though, these ceremonies would end in a sacrifice. If the harvest was good, they would sacrifice animals, but if the harvest had been poor, they would sacrifice people. Putting it all together, Howie realizes that Rowan isn't dead, but she will be sacrificed for May Day. He then goes over the possible methods, drowning, burned alive, or beheading, and he remarks aloud that even the people of Summer Isle can't be that crazy.
You're saying the quiet part out loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while he was reading in his head, that lady was looking at him like she could read his thoughts.
Yeah, dude.
I'd be like, I'm gonna go read this under my blanket. Like, I don't know. I'd be scared.
He needs the fucking tin hat from Signs.
Yeah.
But that old woman looks over at him after he says that, almost like, well, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You don't know what we'll do.
But Howie goes on to read about the priest who would normally play the teasing woman in the ceremony and would skin a child and wear their skin ceremonially to guarantee a successful harvest next year. He closes the book, having read more than enough, and then he goes to meet with the harbor master, who takes him on the dinghy back to his seaplane. The camera focuses on the blue eye on the side of the dinghy, which, still creepy.
Yeah.
But Howie says that he'll return shortly with more police officers, and we see villagers wearing crude animal masks, watching them as they go, the harbor master making eye contact with them as even more appear to the sound of discordant strings.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yes.
When they popped up in those masks, I was like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I knew immediately when he's like, and I'll be back. I'm like,
no.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're not going anywhere.
Not at all.
You're not going anywhere.
And he makes it to the seaplane, but of course, the engine won't start.
He had to have known they were.
Yeah.
How did you not think that nobody was going to go fuck with your plane?
You told them your plans.
Yeah.
To the leader.
Yeah, all the time.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, anyone would listen to you and tell them what was going on.
By the way.
Yeah.
More cops.
Yeah, as soon as I leave this island, y'all are fucked.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's telling them. So why would they let you leave the island?
Maybe we sabotage his plane?
I mean, he's up there asleep right now.
Yeah,
He's been breaking into places and researching all night.
Yeah.
He's not even looking over
It's all
here.
tuckered out. But Howie tries to call in on the radio, but there's no connection. The harbor master rows away, telling him to have a good flight, which was really fucked up. But Howie reaches up, attempting to move the blades manually, but they won't budge. The animal people, as soon as they see this, crouch behind the wall.
Terrifying.
I was like, that fucking rat chewed through the... But it's horrifying to see them, and I don't know if it's the old-fashioned masks or what, but it's a lot.
Those masks are scary.
They are. And so many films have done this.
Yeah.
So it's like crazy to see how influential it is. But Howie calls for the harbor master to return, which he does. He asks if anyone has messed with his seaplane, but the harbor master says that he never saw anyone.
I just feel like at this point, I know somebody did something.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I've been talking a lot of shit.
Yeah.
In all fairness.
Yeah.
Any number of people could have been pissed off enough to come and fuck with my shit.
Yeah.
He even still could have been like, can you please come back? He's like, get back here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Wait,
I would
on
start
the megaphone.
Yes, I would start getting real nice real quick because the shit that I've been doing since I've gotten here is not won me any friends.
Have you ever like fucked up so badly but didn't realize how bad you fucked up, and then once you realized, you replayed all the small little
Yes.
fuck ups
Yeah.
that led you to this
I
point?
fucked
It's
up.
like, oh god, all those people I told that I'd be. But the harbor master jokes that someone could row him to the mainland, but that would probably take about a week. Howie stares him in the face and says that he'll just have to find Rowan Morrison himself then.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
it. Stop.
Well, so you're going to search for Rowan?
Yeah.
Everybody knows everything. But heading back into town, he finds Oak dressed as the hobby horse and begins a game of cat and mouse through alleyways.
This was kind of frustrating for me to watch because you're clearly being baited.
Oh, yeah.
He's not running from you. He's waiting until you come around the corner and shaking his little costume and then running.
Yeah.
He's like, follow me. Like,
yes.
You're being baited. I don't understand how he's still like, well, I'm going to catch you. It's like, no, he wants you to chase him.
Is he the worst detective
Horrible.
ever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, if we're ranking detectives right now,
He's at the bottom.
I just really... And the entire thing is like, again, I just learned about this shit this morning.
Yeah.
Like, it's fitting too perfectly.
It's too much. Yeah, he's down there with Detective Matthews.
Well, then go. But finally catching up with him, he peers through a window where a group is gathered outside for festivities. Even Lord Summerisle is there, dancing around and checking in with his villagers to make sure everything is good to go. A band is playing, and an old man is stirring a cauldron of what can only be described as sludge.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Yeah.
No.
He's like, this sludge came from a can.
And the sludge never comes up again, does it?
No.
Yeah, I thought it was like tar.
Me
so
too.
I was like, oh, they're going to fuck this thing
Yeah.
up.
I was afraid, and
Yeah.
nah, no feathers either.
No.
Like, no.
No feathers.
Well, they run together, the tar and the feather. But Summerisle takes to the stage, quieting the band. He says that they should all meet in the town square at 3 o'clock sharp, then form a procession through the village and the countryside to the beach and to the stones by the route which has become sacred to their right. But he says this year, as they already know, a holy sacrifice will be offered to Nuada, the god of the sun, and to Avelanau, the goddess of the orchards, to give them renewed power. He leads them in a chant hailing the Queen of the May. Now, again, this feels too perfect.
Yeah.
Literally, like, the idea in Howie's mind.
Mm-hmm.
They think I'm gone, so they're just saying everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, think about it, dude. You were literally led here.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they're doing the, and he's, he wasn't even really He's just like standing in the window.
His full face in frame. It's not even like it's just his eyes and his scalp.
I feel like maybe arrogance. Maybe he thinks that he's so smart that they couldn't possibly get anything over on him. I don't know what it is, but this is, dare I say, foolish.
Oh, very well played.
It also made me laugh because I can't remember who Summerisle was talking to about their costume, but he's like, it shrinks every year, and clothes do be shrinking every year.
The pandemic taught me that. And I will say that the arrogance might come from, you know, and not to quote that lady from Wife Swap, but they're not Christian.
They're dark-sided.
Yeah, so I think that that's what he thinks. He's like, they're not even smart enough to believe in Jesus.
Right.
So I got their fucking number.
Clearly they couldn't be, you know, manipulating the shit out of me.
Exactly. No, of course not, man. I'm safely behind this wall.
Yeah.
But at the post office, May cuts a cake of a woman into pieces, which I was like, huh.
Yeah.
But Howie walks in. May is surprised to see him, assuming he had gone back to the mainland.
Maybe this was just me because I really felt like from the minute that he found out that his plane wasn't starting and he came back, I was on edge watching him follow this dude and being led and then clearly putting on a show for his benefit.
Oh yeah.
I'm very unnerved and I feel like everybody's in on this. And so when he walked into the post office, the chime sounded weird to me.
In all fairness, I mean,
it was like ding dong, like it was like a weird, like and maybe it was just me being like, oh, you're fucked, you're fucked, you're fucked, don't go anywhere, like you're fucked. But it sounded strange.
In all honesty, whenever she had that customer that she left and he spoke to Myrtle, I remember a very normal chime.
It to me sounded off.
So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But Howie tries to appeal to her, and he says that he doesn't know if she knows it or not, but Rowan is still alive, and they have her hidden somewhere. He begs her to tell him where she is, asking what kind of mother she is to sit by and watch her child be slaughtered. May advises him to go back to the mainland and stop interfering in things that aren't his concern. But Howie is fucking over it, announcing his plan to search every house on the island and plans to arrest anyone who gets in his way as an accomplice to murder. Giving it all away, May tells him that he simply will never understand the true nature of sacrifice.
Yes!
I'm like, so your daughter is going to be sacrificed?
I was like, that sounded like a confession to me.
Yeah.
And she wasn't like, I already told you that's not my daughter. She never said that.
No.
Yeah.
She's just like, man, you don't even get it. I don't even think he gets us.
We're talking about you. But furious, Howie storms off, calling them heathens. Again, nothing to do with Rowan, all on the religious stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Howie heads to a nearby house and rings a doorbell. A couple of children wearing cat masks peek their heads out of the upstairs window, and Howie tells them to take their masks off. Now, he has no authority here.
No.
And it makes me laugh because it just makes me think of take off that mask, like Nicolas Cage or whatever.
That was pretty good.
Well, thank you. Well, and because I watched some clips from Nicolas Cage's The Wicker Man yesterday, and it's so funny how they take so much from little moments in this film that don't really mean that much. Him yelling at these children in the window, and what Nicolas Cage does with it is like fucking hilarious.
Well, I'm excited to watch that.
And we will cover that.
Yeah, for
we
sure.
have to cover that. But when the front door opens, he forces his way past their annoyed mother to search the house for Rowan. Behind a curtain, he finds an actual secret passage with a spiral staircase. But instead of investigating that,
he's like, oh, that checks out.
Every house has these, I believe.
What the fuck, dude?
He turns his attention to two puppets on a nearby bed who are clearly in the middle of making it sweet.
Yeah, no, they were copulating for sure.
And even this is too much for him, and he backhands the puppets, which is fucking hilarious.
He's like, if I'm not getting any, nobody gets.
I didn't see a ring on that puppet's finger. But after he does this, we see him leave the house and continue his search of other homes on the island. After breaking into another house, he rips a sheet off of a box to reveal a clown puppet. So to me, it feels like this is a full setup.
Absolutely.
They're leaving these puppets here to taunt him, it feels like, but he's just taking the bait every time.
Oh, God damn it. He's so just beyond at this point.
He's like, as long as that clown's not touching himself, I'm that's fine. That clown can stay.
It could be worse.
But inside the house, he hears the librarian singing Ba Ba Black Sheep behind a closed door. He barges in and finds the librarian naked, sitting seductively in a very small bathtub. As she sucks her thumb at him and reveals her breasts, he apologizes, staring a little too long before closing the door.
He sure did linger, though.
He did. He's like, I need to commit this to...
Think of Marilyn, think of Marilyn.
But after this, he just continues on, searching a large dresser at a nearby house. The left side of the dresser opens, and a girl appearing to be dead with blood on her mouth falls to the floor. When he goes to check on her, she springs to life, laughing at him and running away.
You little shit.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Again, this is a lot.
Yeah.
They're having fun.
Yeah.
Everybody's having fun.
At this point, if you're him, don't you realize that you're probably fucked?
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. And think about it. I know I keep bringing it up. Who wrote you that letter? You were brought here. You were summoned here, and then everybody acted like, what? No, I don't. Like, if this were all some secret sacrifice, who would write to you and ask you to come here?
Right.
These are all great questions.
I'm like,
these are all
Sir.
great questions a detective should be asking, but nah. But through a window in another house, he sees a large fishing vessel off in the distance. We cut to him on that fishing vessel.
Yes.
Not sure how he got there. But after coming up empty in the search on that vessel, he returns to the island to search a bakery. The baker, played by John McGregor, takes a large human-shaped piece of bread out of the oven, telling Howie that it's John Barleycorn, the life of the fields, when asked.
Yeah, I'm glad you said when asked, because I laughed out loud. Unless they breaded and baked Rowan. This has nothing to do with what you're doing.
No.
But he takes it out and he's like, what's that?
There better not be a little girl in there.
Go about your business. Like, it's crazy.
It's so funny to me because the answer he gives still doesn't explain anything to me. I still don't understand. Just tell me it's bread. Just tell me it's bread, dude.
Can I have some of that bread?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. I'll take a hand.
Yeah, looks nice and crispy. But Howie then bumps into the fishmonger, played by John Young, who shows off his fish costume for the festivities, calling it the Salmon of Knowledge. We then see the butcher, played by Charles Kearney, showing off his costume after Howie observes hanging meat carcasses.
This was just so unnerving because I'm like, if they're letting this dude roam around, search shit, ask questions, you have something in store that it doesn't matter.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the fact that this dude literally was like, and this is my costume.
Yeah, no,
I'm like, why
dude,
is everybody so chill?
The scene starts with him saying, "Oh, this?" Which is amazing. But now at the funeral home, Howie investigates a couple of small caskets. He finds the first one empty, but in the second one, he finds the body of an old woman with coins on her eyes and one missing hand. Now, the hand is bandaged and there's blood on the bandage.
Yeah.
So that was a little confusing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it was removed post-mortem, there wouldn't be fresh blood on the bandage. But I'm like, again, I know that this is scary and there's something weird going on. That's not Rowan.
No.
Yeah.
And people can also still die.
Yeah.
Shit still happens here.
Only one person is allowed to die on this
Go
island.
about your business. Like, you either need to go hide or start swimming. Like,
Yeah, dude,
get the fuck out of
Seriously.
here.
And it only took 2 songs to get here. Swim back.
Yeah, no shit.
But get your iPod shuffle.
Yes, get that ready.
That big ass boat.
Yeah.
Go
You
back
were on
on
a
that
boat.
boat.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
were on a boat. I can't.
Which
I
again,
can't.
that vessel is never explained.
Yeah,
No.
But out in the streets, music plays, Oak continuing to get the hang of his hobby horse costume. Howie finally returns to the Green Man Inn where he finds Willow tending bar with her father. She asks where the other cops are, and he says that there aren't any and that his plane won't start. But he orders a glass of whiskey and downs it as Alder says that he must be exhausted after tearing the whole village apart.
Yeah.
I mean, what more?
Yeah.
So they're watching you as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. But Howie just snags his room key and says that he's going to nap for half an hour and doesn't want to be disturbed.
I'm going to go up there alone and I'm going to be vulnerable. All right.
Yeah, no
Just want
shit.
everyone to know.
Nobody go in there.
But Alder suggests that he stay there all night as the village doesn't take kindly to strangers on May Day. I mean...
Yeah.
And I'll unpack this more later.
Okay.
But for now, I'll just say you had so many opportunities.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
yeah.
You had so many opportunities.
It's unbelievable.
I'm not going to go any further, but we'll talk about it when we can talk about it.
That's what I wanted to say something, but I was like,
It's
no,
so
no. I was
hard.
just
Like, even just talking through it again, reliving it, I'm like, you
Yes.
motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
it's frustrating.
Each step of the way, and again, these little moments of the characters you seeing behind the scenes,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
Howie, what the fuck? But as he sleeps in his bed, Willow peeks at him from downstairs. She whispers to Alder that Howie is asleep, but she's afraid to use it on him.
He's asleep with the door open.
Yes, he is.
The door's open. They're standing right outside the door
Yeah.
and they're speaking at full volume.
You couldn't have talked about this at the bar?
Or you couldn't have closed your door when you went to take a nap?
Yeah,
I don't,
dude, you
He's like,
fucking...
Yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
God. I'm just so mad at him.
Yes.
What are you doing?
He's never... This is awful. But Alder says it's what the Lord ordered, but Willow says that using the hand of glory, there's no telling when a person will wake up. Howie's eyes open as he listens in. Alder says that even if he sleeps for days, it's fine because they don't need him butting in. He tells her to go light it up, so she sneaks up the stairs and we see her place something on the nightstand.
My only thought here is if I'm him, there's no way they're going to be talking about this that loud where I can hear them.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Unless
stupid.
I'm supposed to hear this.
Yeah.
He doesn't see it that way.
It's so frustrating. Will he disagree?
Yeah, sorry. Well, Reneé, who's been a detective for?
Yeah, no shit.
But she calls him her pretty sergeant and says that it'll help him sleep well. She then bids farewell to her father to join the festivities as he goes to get into his punch costume. Howie turns his head to see a severed hand on a candlestick, the fingers alight with fire.
So that was that lady's hand.
Yeah.
Exactly. He just knocks it over, though, as he falls out of bed.
Yeah.
He's like, oh! Sure, man. But he grabs the candlestick and he finds Alder getting changed and knocks him out with it.
What is your badge number?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
There's really, I mean, I will say that, again, I understand his whole thing with the culture shock and the differences.
Yeah.
But there is nothing here that was a crime yet. So knocking him out, I don't know that that's even justified at all. I mean, I get it. Maybe I just don't like Howie. I think is what's going on. Because he probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, but he does. I mean, he didn't need to do that.
No.
Yeah, he just didn't need to do that.
I think it's more what he does after.
Fair. He finds the punch mask on the dresser and steals Alder's costume, leaving him tied to the bed frame.
My only note here is, Sergeant, you are going to massively regret that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, and it's so funny to me because you don't know anything about this fucking celebration, really.
Yeah.
You read a book for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
Literally.
you don't know what punch has to do. But we do see a procession by the water, everyone in their costumes, including Summer Isle, who plays the sinister tease and criticizes how he's dancing as Punch, thinking that he's Alder just phoning it in.
They're like, this is the worst punch we've ever had.
I do want to bring up what you said earlier about Summer Isle kind of being their minister.
Yeah.
Because what he read in the book was that the priest wears this costume.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a way, he is their priest.
Yeah.
But after the criticism, how he doesn't want to be found out, so he starts busting moves, dude.
You know that he was hating every second of it.
Yeah. But I mean,
he's like, the angriest dancing you've ever seen.
like you were saying that they're like, clearly they're playing him. Like, there's no way you could go out there and then just him being like, come on, dance. You know what I mean? What are you doing? You know what you're supposed to do. I wouldn't be like, oh, they're buying this shit. I'd be like, I'm fucked.
Yes.
It's like they
He's like,
know.
now bust a
yeah,
move.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, they know it's me.
It's like, I'm clearly caught,
Yeah.
but I'm going to do the stanky leg anyway.
Yeah.
This is for me. Just
Yeah.
one last
If
time.
it's the last thing I do. But we do get a cool shot of the 6 swords raised up to the sky. The villagers continue on as music plays, a group of women ahead of them. Willow, Miss Rose, and the librarian break away from the women and start to fuck with Howie using wooden swords. Summer Isle is loving it as Howie playfully bats at them, smacking Willow on the ass with his wand.
The fuck?
That's all you need to...
The fuck?
The fuck? But clouds cover the sun as the group reaches the Stonehenge site of the naked fire dancing from earlier. Summer Isle, who wields a plant and a sickle, leads the 6 swordsmen to a circle of stone where they form the star, the sign of the sun. They each take turns putting their head in the center of the swords as everyone chants, chop, chop, chop. After a few people go through, Summer Isle grabs Howie's mask, saying, everyone must go through, McGregor.
He's like,
Yeah. Now he's like, I'll just slink to the back.
Yeah.
But Howie holds his mask on as Summer Isle tells him that it's a game of chance. He makes his way through, putting his head between the swords, and thankfully for him, he doesn't get chopped.
I was so tense
Yes, dude.
during this entire scene because I can't remember if it was Miss Rose or the librarian, but one of them looked fucking scared.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this isn't... I know that the ritual that they're doing, or I believe that the ritual they're doing is actually the ritual that they're doing. But I do feel like there are parts of this that are performative for Howie's benefit.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I thought, maybe they're fucking with him. But when she looked like that, I was like,
like,
oh
oh my
no.
God.
Like, she looks like she might get her head chopped off.
Yeah. And it seemed, I mean, I don't know, because he, again, did not read about this in the book.
Yeah.
No.
So if I were him, I'd be like, what else don't I know?
Exactly. You shouldn't be here.
No.
Yeah.
That's step one.
The only thing that I was like, because he's seen someone dressed in the rabbit costume.
Yeah.
So I was like, you got to know, even if I go through there, they're waiting for that person so that they can cut their head off.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, if I don't go through here, they're going to know
Exactly.
Yeah.
that they already know it's not me, but now they're going to know that it's really not me.
They're going to know that I know that they know that it's not me.
Yeah.
And that's too much to even.
Yeah.
But after he does not get chopped, the masked person behind him is not so lucky. And after atmospheric shots of the sun, the person is promptly decapitated. Howie screams, "No!" But we see that the person is on the ground alive. They take their mask off to reveal Holly, played by Fiona Kennedy, and she just laughs as we see that it was only the top of her costume that was chopped.
Yeah.
When she got chopped, I was like, 2 sacrifices? I was like, I just thought Rowan. Yeah. But it shocked the shit out of me, and the emotion from Howie should have also been a giveaway.
Yeah.
But nobody calls him
Everybody's
on it.
like, haha. He's like, God!
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
McGregor?
Are you okay, dude? But Summer Isle takes Holly by the hand and directs the group to join him on the beach. Oak takes off his hobby horse costume, and near the crashing waves, Summer Isle takes his place on top of a carriage. He grabs an axe and calls out to the god of the sea, offering ale as a libation, begging that the god will bestow them with the rich and diverse fruits of their kingdom. He smashes the barrel with the axe, and it's rolled into the sea, creating a rather delicious-looking foam.
Yeah.
It did look delicious.
I wanted to take a bite.
Yeah, I was like, man, what exactly was that? 'Cause that foamed up good.
What kind of ale?
Yeah.
But Summer Isle then prepares the villagers for the next sacrifice for those who control the fruits of the earth. He directs their attention to a stone walkway where men hold torches, and standing there, tied up in a white dress and flowery accessories, is Rowan Morrison, played by Jerry Cowper. Howie immediately breaks camp, rushing up the steps. Broom asks, "What's the matter, McGregor?"
But not like angrily.
No.
Yeah.
Like the fact that nobody was like, back in line, punch.
Yeah.
Like that would be a huge red flag. Like
I love that they're calling him Punch.
Well, he's in character.
He is in character.
I feel like, and I'm sure in that moment, it's just like realization and you need to act, you need to move, but it's just strange
Yeah.
that nobody's like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, stop. What are you know what I mean?
Not one person.
It's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like it was like
It's
playful.
Sly and knowing.
Exactly.
But for his efforts, Howie promptly socks him in the face.
He does.
He immediately unties Rowan, telling her who he is, and she begs him to hurry, asking if he knows what they're going to do. The two run away with the town in pursuit, and surprisingly funky music playing for their getaway.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I love how this sounds, but I don't know.
I know.
But through a cave, he throws part of Rowan's wreath into the water as a diversion. The distraction seems to work as they climb out, losing them. Rowan apologizes, saying that it was worse than she remembered. I don't know what that means.
I thought that she meant because it was a hard climb to get out of it.
Yeah.
Because she's the one that led him through there to get out a back way.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
So I thought she meant like, oh, like, sorry, that was... She's like, I'm tired.
I thought she was just trying to play it up so that he would keep going along with it.
Right.
Or that. I mean, I don't know.
Whenever she said that, I was like, I think that what led me there, especially with what we see next, is like remembered, like rehearsed.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we'll get there in just a second. Literally just a second.
Right now.
Because amidst the sound of crashing waves, they turn to see Summer Isle, Willow, and Miss Rose. Summer Isle, they're all out of costume now, by the way.
I know. It was funny to me that he had to have scrubbed his face.
Yes.
Like the whole time they're chasing, he's like, let me take this wig off.
Yeah, it's like, well, they're handling that. But Summer Isle holds out his arms, and Rowan rushes to him. She asks if she did it right, and he tells her that she did it beautifully.
I fucking knew it.
Yes.
Because when he is, rescuing her or whatever, she goes, I don't like it here, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what?
You're from here.
Yeah.
Like, it was just that hit me weird.
Yeah.
The stuff
because
that she
you're
was
not a visitor.
No.
It just
And for someone to say that is someone like him who's an outsider.
Exactly.
You can say that.
Oh,
exactly. But I feel like it was just what he needed to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So when she did that, because for a second I was like, oh, fuck, when I saw her.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. Something's not right.
But Howie looks confused as more villagers surround them, including May. Rowan rushes to May, hugging her, and May takes her away because she was her daughter.
You bitch!
You're the biggest liar of all! But Howie stares off the edge of the cliff, and we get gorgeous shots of rushing water below. Willow links arms with him, and Summer Isle says, "Welcome, fool. You've come of your own free will to the appointed place. The game is over." Seeing as he is dressed as Punch, that's when I'm like, they planned
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But Howie asks what game, and Summer Isle tells him the game of the hunted leading the hunter. He came here in search of Rowan, but it is they who found him. They brought him here and controlled his every thought and action since his arrival. While Rowan was never to be offered as a sacrifice, it is true that their harvest last year failed. Summer Isle says that must not happen again, and in order to prevent it, they must offer the most acceptable sacrifice they can. Animals are one thing, and a child would be better than that, but not nearly as effective as the right kind of adult.
I'm like, the right kind.
Yeah. Howie begins piecing it all together as more masked villagers overlook them from the ridge above. Summer Isle tells him that he is the right kind of adult. Willow and Miss Rose join in, telling him how he's the perfect sacrifice. A man who would come here of his own free will, as a king representing the law, a virgin, and a fool.
I'm like, so the gods like their sacrifice roasted before? Or like,
Yeah, it's
I was like, God damn.
It's like, we like the skin crispy.
Fuck.
This, to me, was very interesting because I read that Schaefer reverse engineered the character of Howie based on the traits of an ideal sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of horrifying when you think about Willow and the librarian tempting him earlier.
Yes.
Because his refusal to have sex with them only made him a better sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The first night he was there, was like, come on with it.
Yeah.
If he would have,
he would have
really
been no
wouldn't
good.
have been eligible.
Yeah.
Even as he's searching the houses, the librarian, if he would have, he wouldn't have been eligible.
Right.
If he went to his room to take a nap and dude was like, I'd stay up there if I were you. If he would have fucking listened.
He wouldn't. Yeah.
It's like all of
Because
he had so many outs and so many chances.
So you're saying if he would have had one of those lemon squares when he got there, he would have been fine, right?
I suppose so.
now I'm
May's
upset.
bad, yeah.
Edit out everything I just said.
I just saw your face getting redder and redder. Powering up. I will say, though, that it is each one of the steps, because even if he didn't have sex with Willow,
Right.
and he stayed in bed, he wouldn't have been the fool.
He had,
It's
that's
like
what I'm
each,
saying.
Yeah.
each thing.
Looking back when he's literally like, I'd stay up there the rest of
Yeah.
You're
being
it's
told.
Almost,
Yeah.
It's almost like they were
Testing.
working against themselves to get him out there.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll put up every roadblock, and if he still comes through,
And
it's just wow.
I think that for them, they're testing their idea, because they're like, well, we'll see if he actually is
Yeah.
the perfect sacrifice.
I mean, he clearly
and he's
is.
like, guys.
Yeah. No shit.
me.
But Howie tries to look for a way out as above them, the villagers unmask. He tries to walk past Oak like that's going to work.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me, sir. But Oak just throws him down and picks him up and holds him by the shoulders. Miss Rose tells him that as Punch, he is a fool who has accepted the role of king for a day. But she says that he will be revered and anointed as a king, as he'll undergo death and rebirth, or resurrection for him. She knows.
I know what you like.
Yeah, we got in that argument earlier.
Fresh fruit and veg and resurrection.
But that rebirth/resurrection will come in the form of their crops. As Willow holds a knife on him and the villagers surround them, Howie says that as a Christian, he'll hope for resurrection and he'll live again, not their damn apples. Willow slices his costume open and as a musician plays a lyre or a harp. I couldn't really tell.
You play something.
Yeah, these Renaissance instruments are. Howie is cleaned and undressed. Willow and Miss Rose rub their hair on him and his hands are cleansed with water. He is then marked with a yellow powder and dressed in a robe. Howie tells Summer Isle that no matter what he does, he believes in the life eternal as promised to him by their Lord Jesus Christ. Summer Isle's like, that's good. That's good. And for that, we're going to give you something rare these days, a martyr's death. He'll not only have eternal life, but he'll sit among the saints. He tells him to come, as it's now time to keep with his appointment with the Wicker Man.
I don't remember booking an appointment with the Wicker
I
You could go on and cancel that for me, because I didn't.
Who called the Wicker Man's office on my behalf?
That's fucked up.
If he would have just brought some kind of way to help defend himself.
He could.
True.
I mean, whether I carry a pocket knife or the knife I keep, you know what I mean, on me.
Whether I carry a pocket knife or a larger knife.
Is that an ankle holster?
Either way, though, like when you were there and you seen them there before Big Dude came to grab him, why didn't you could have took Dude hostage? Because I think he's their leader. Either I'm killing him, we're both jumping off, and I'm using him to break my fall on those rocks, and I'm gonna try to chance it in the tide. Or, you know what I mean? You guys are going to let me go.
See,
you know?
You're thinking more like a person should be thinking.
Yeah.
How he's not like that.
Yeah,
Howie's not at all. Yeah, Howie's not like that.
I will say that when he did peer over at the rocks, after hearing about the plan kind of coming together, I'm surprised he didn't just hurl himself off.
No, yeah.
I would have and taken my chances.
Oh, yeah.
But I think his beliefs prevent him from doing that.
Oh, yeah, he can't.
So it's like...
Take Dude with you. He'll break your fall. I mean, you might break an arm or something.
And then sail on him.
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
What was that movie? Swiss Army Man? But Howie breaks away from Oak, begging them to listen to him. Whatever flowery language they want to put on it, they're about to commit murder. He tries to appeal to them with logic. Their crops failed because it's nature. This island isn't meant to yield bountiful harvest, and killing him won't change that. He begs Summer Isle to tell them that it won't, but he's like, oh, it will.
Yeah.
Not only will it won't, but the opposite of that.
Howie says that if they fail again, then next year, the only sacrifice that will suffice is to kill Summer Isle himself.
Mm-hmm.
But Summer Isle repeats, they will not fail. It made me laugh because he's like, you don't get to choose who.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody said that.
Oh, are you Lord Summer Isle? Yeah. That's weird. Here, take this fashionable yellow shirt. But he says that the sacrifice of the would-be king virgin fool will be accepted. I was like, damn.
Rude.
Howie says that he'll be missed and people will come looking for him, but Summer Isle says that there will be no trace of him.
That's terrifying.
This is when he orders Oak to lift him up. They carry him out, Oak tying his hands and marching him forward as the group follows behind. There, at the top of the hill, we see it. A large wooden man with a ladder leading to an empty, cavernous belly. 4 men surrounded with torches as Howie screams for his god. I heard that Edward Woodward did not want to see the Wicker Man until his character saw the Wicker Man.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
So that reaction, the Jesus Christ, is like real.
Oh, I mean, that's good though. That's like, you know what? I want to be fucking surprised.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It looks terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes, and seeing it for the first time is fucking frightening.
Yeah, it is. And then I feel like it's just probably because the film's reputation precedes it. But it's so clever that that's what this is named.
Yes.
I feel like it would have been easier to just call it Summer Isle or something like that. But the fact that it's Midsummer, whatever. The fact that it's called The Wicker Man is so ominous in itself, especially since it's not referenced or seen until the literal end of the film.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, to be honest, man, I knew the ending going into this.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows the ending of The Wicker Man. But the thing about it is that the way it's executed, I was so caught up in everything else going on that I fucking forgot.
You're like, oh, yeah.
And so whenever he says he has an appointment with the Wicker Man, I'm like, that's the film. Of course. Shit. But I wanted to talk about the Wicker Man very quickly. Seamus Flannery, who was the art director, said that he had found old drawings of Wicker Men that were supposedly used to burn sacrifices.
Right.
And he modeled this Wicker Man off of those drawings. There were also these rumors that there might have never been Wicker Men in use, and that it was supposedly a rumor started by Julius Caesar.
Why?
I guess to make enemies appear more barbaric than they actually were. But
Julius.
I think that it's a lot cooler if the Wicker Man was real.
Yeah, I want to believe. You don't need to believe in the Wicker Man. The Wicker Man believes in you.
Don't say that. But he said that they actually built 3 Wicker Men. One was just the legs, and we'll see shots of why later.
Yeah.
2 of them were actually fully complete. And the very interesting thing is I looked it up, and as recently as, I think, March of 2021, there are still remains of one of the Wicker Men in Scotland where this was filmed.
Oh, that is
shit.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's it's so crazy because of all the stuff that was shot on location.
Yeah.
Like basically everything that you see in this film, you could actually go visit.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool.
And so it's like one of those films that you're like, well, you could make a tour out of it.
Yeah.
The other thing was that originally the Wicker Man's eyes were supposed to be full of daisies. And when they did it, they said that it looked a little too friendly.
All right.
And so they're like, well, what if we dig holes and make it like cavernous eyes? So they did that, and they said that it looked too evil. And so that's how they ended up with the blank face. And it works perfect, I think.
Yeah.
It does, but I mean, even if he looked friendly, aren't y'all supposed to be friendly?
Yeah, I kind of would like to have seen what it looked like with the daisies in the eyes.
Me too. I think it would honestly be eerier to me.
Probably.
I agree.
It's on fire.
There's there's such a duality to everything that they do.
Yeah.
And the fact that in their minds this is bringing life and this is sustaining them, but they're murdering someone. Like that duality of we're doing a good thing, but look at it through Howie's point of view.
Yeah.
So seeing that, why wouldn't we decorate it? This is an offering. We're doing something beautiful.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that, honestly.
I mean, everything else is
it would
kind
make
of
more sense.
You know? But Howie struggles against Oak, but of course is no match. And as they get closer, we see that there are live animals encaged inside of the Wicker Man as well.
That made me sad.
Poor duck. I was looking at that duck. I was like, oh shit.
They're like, we're not taking any chances.
No.
We got a virgin. We got animals. We got. What do you want?
If our crops
what
fail,
flavor?
That's on us. But yeah, there's pigs, chickens, cows, and ducks. And Oak carries Howie inside, closing the door and making him the centerpiece of the entire Wicker Man. Summer Isle calls out to the god of the sun. This shot for me is perfect.
Yeah.
With the Wicker Man in the background, in his hair like whipping in the breeze, his hands up. It's just amazing.
It is.
But he begs him to accept their sacrifice and make their blossoms fruit. Howie cries out that it's the Lord who laid waste to their orchards because truth has withered away in the sons of man. He says desire will fail and they'll all die accursed. Summer Isle is like, light this man up.
That's about enough out of you.
Yeah.
So one thing I did learn is that due to weather, they had to really pick their spots on when they could film stuff. Because if it clears up outside from all the snow and the rain and shit, maybe not snow, I guess more sleet.
Right.
You can go film some outside scenes.
Uh-huh.
So fucking move everything real quick. Let's film it. So when it came time to film what Howie is about to do, he had not the time to learn his lines.
Right.
And so they had giant cue cards in front of the Wicker Man for him to read. And it's surprising to learn that because this is one of the most emphatic.
Yeah. I was like, I never would have guessed because it's very, like, he's acting his ass off.
Yeah.
Yes. It feels very real.
Oh, yeah.
But they do set the Wicker Man on fire as music begins to play, and the villagers lively sway and joyously sing, "Summer is a coming in," as flames travel up the legs of the statue.
Can y'all at least do the corn rig song while you take me?
That song was at least.
Do you take requests?
Yeah. Right. I heard something about Summer House. Yeah. Can we do that? I will say that especially Christopher Lee, but the smile on his face is horrifying.
Again, they're doing something good.
Yes.
This is securing their livelihood for another year. I mean, in
they
their mind,
that's what's happening.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, of course they're fucking happy.
It is joyous.
They put up all these roadblocks to see if they could really still make this happen.
And it worked.
And they still made it happen.
And they're all happier than I've ever seen anyone.
Oh, yeah.
But Animals Screech is how he begins to sing Psalm 23 with all the fury and faith left in him.
That was, and again, I'm not a fan of Howie at all.
No.
That was heartbreaking to watch.
He cries out to God as smoke chokes him, begging God to take his soul and spare him from the pain of hell, and through Christ give him eternal life. The villagers continue to sing happily as Howie cries out to Daniel in pained screams. Now, I had to look this up because I didn't understand why he was screaming Daniel.
Yeah.
But the story of Daniel in the Bible is that Daniel was accused of favoring God over the king. And so he is thrown into a lion's den.
Right.
He prays and an angel saves him from the lions, which amazes the king. And so the king throws the people who accused him into the lion den along with their families.
God damn.
Right.
You're like, well, revenge is whatever it is.
Well.
It's a dish best served cold. But I thought it was very sad because what he's saying is, I'm Daniel.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
But the head of the Wicker Man, now fully engulfed in flames, collapses as the camera closes in on the setting sun.
I loved that shot of it like bowing down almost.
Yeah, and they said that, again, this is all practical.
That's incredible.
They got a perfect shot of the Wicker Man collapsing.
Right.
And then zoom right into the sun. It's perfect. I can't get over that shot. But as the clouds begin to cover the sun, the credits roll, and that's the end. I was like, how do we end these? At the end. But I have to ask, what did you guys think of The Wicker Man?
I enjoyed this movie. I did. I won't lie. The second half wasn't the greatest for me.
Okay.
Like I said, I would watch it again, but I did. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a warm side of the door situation, and for me, it just wasn't. Not saying that the music in here wasn't good, but I was like, it's not warm side of the door. I was like,
we're gonna be chasing that high for the rest of our lives.
I know,
nothing is gonna be the warm side of the door.
I gotta be 100% honest with you. I love the warm side of the door.
This did it for you
very much, but that fucking Maypole song, I think it might have its number for me.
Yeah. Maybe a recency bias.
Maybe it might be because it's still stuck in my head as we speak.
I think it was just it wasn't. I don't mean it in a bad way, but this movie was never scary to me.
Okay.
There was never a frightening moment or there was a lot of, oh shit, you're gonna be in trouble. Oh shit, you're getting set up. Oh, you're just being stupid now. But I never was like, oh fuck, this is scary. Like, yeah, the situation is frightening, but again, if they have been warning you Every chance, every turn, stay in your room, get out of here, you don't belong here, hey, stop asking questions. And the dude's still doing it. I hate saying you asked for this, but you've really put yourself in this corner, dude. And then them even being like, look, like you said, they were testing him. It's like, let's make sure his faith is whatever. Oh, it is. Oh, let's make sure that his solidarity is what. Oh, it is. And he kept doing it. It's like all you had to do was sleep with this dude's daughter, or you had to give in to whatever. No, I mean, not like, I mean, like
in hindsight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? One thing would have saved your ass, dude. And you kept, I get it. And yeah, you stuck to your guns to the end. You know what I mean? More fucking power to you. But I mean, their religion is pretty much the same thing what he believes in.
Right.
So you can't really be like, oh, you're fucking crazy, but we're right. You're doing the same shit he's doing, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, and it's funny to me because I didn't even think about it until later. But even showing him take communion, the idea of communion is frightening.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
It is.
And so, I mean, it inspired Midnight Mass, which was great.
And frightening.
Yeah. So good things can come from it. But I think that it's those two ideas, I guess, put together.
Yeah.
And it makes for a really interesting, I guess, kind of battle.
Right.
When you think about it. And you can have so many different readings of this film because it all depends on what side of the aisle you lean on, maybe.
Right.
You might see Howie. I did read in, I think it was The Independent, that a lot of evangelicals love this movie because they say
he's
that...
a martyr.
Yeah.
Because he stuck to his guns or whatever. To me, I see it the exact opposite way.
Yeah, I can totally see people thinking that. And I was even thinking as I was watching it that this is 1973. And I bet a lot of people sympathized with him.
Yeah.
Agreed 100% with him. Not that people wouldn't today, but
of course.
I had that thought while I was watching it.
And I think to me what makes that so interesting is that for me, it's kind of looking at it as like almost not anti-religion, but almost in a way of telling you to think for yourself.
Right.
In the way that Howie was so stuck in his ways with his beliefs, he signed his own death warrant.
Yeah.
And so, is that what they call it? A death warrant?
Yeah.
All right. Well, he signed it. Why does that feel weird?
I don't know.
You ever have words feel weird in your mouth?
Every day.
Okay. But it's just such an interesting discussion of theology and mythology to me, especially the fact that, especially during this time when you think about religion, and 73, I believe Exorcist came out in 73 as well. So there's a lot of like discussions of religion and stuff. But when you look at it, what Howie does is the exact thing that is supposed to save you from this exact fate.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's the exact thing that damned him to it. That's fucking incredible.
And scary.
Oh, yeah.
This film was a lot. I enjoyed it more than I had anticipated because, you know, when you already know the ending of something, it's like, okay, we're just getting to the ending. Like, I already know what's going to happen. But there were still so many moments of tension and so many things that felt unnerving. Like, I physically felt uncomfortable at times.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't even know how much was purposeful and the intention behind the film, but there is so much duality touched on as far as Christianity versus paganism. Of, like you said, this faith is supposed to be something that protects him and keeps him safe, but it damned him and it led to his death. The fact that this civilization is supposed to be so loving and free, but it's still very much a patriarchy. This man is in charge. This whole thing is supposed to be led by a woman figure, and it's a man dressed as a woman. Like, there's so much weird shit in that by itself that I feel like I don't think it was on accident. And so the fact that this seems like parallels of each other, that Howie is, oh no, Jesus, and you're naked, and why are they naked? Why are they having sex? This is wrong. This is bad. And you're supposed to think that this other side is just the opposite, and it's free love and it's enlightening, but there's darkness there too. So it's like, I feel like the takeaway here is there is no right anything, like there's no 100% right answer.
Right.
And the fact that Howie couldn't just fucking find common ground or put his own shit to the side to just do what he was supposed to do and then go home. Like that, like
that's your whole purpose.
That's literally all you were supposed to do. You had every opportunity for this not to be your fate, and you still were so bullheaded and devout that you couldn't break out of it. Like it's just, the film is so great on its own, but when you really start to look and be like, well, I don't know if they meant this, but wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving.
It is. And all the more reason to watch it again, because
for sure,
you see all these little moments, and it's just so incredibly paced in the way that they craft everything.
Definitely.
But I am very surprised at how much I love this movie. I thought I would like it a lot, but it really, the more, like you're saying, you peel back these layers, it's so incredible. And again, it all depends on your reading of the film, because this film has many readings.
Yeah. And again, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the fact that it's Summer Isle and his name is Lord, like, you're a lord.
Yeah.
Summer Isle, like, you named all of this. I mean, I know it wasn't him, it was his grandfather or whatever, but it's just, we're all supposed to be living from the earth and it's peace and love, but they're still calling you my lordship.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, there's such a duality there that doesn't fit together. It doesn't gel.
I mean, there's even a disconnect.
And you live in a fucking mansion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just like,
he's the 1%. But it's one of those things that, like, it's the exact same thing that comes up whenever you talk about, like, utopian societies. All it takes, and he may care for these people a lot, but what does absolute power do?
It corrupts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
absolutely.
I mean, and I think that's one thing I love so much about this film, is that it ends on the side of the Wicker Man burning down. We have no idea what the fuck their harvest is.
I wanted to talk about that too, because I don't feel like we should know.
No.
A, and B, I don't know which ending would even be more satisfying.
You want to know the stupid ending that the new owners of the production company said that they should do? They said what should happen. And this to me speaks of people who A, don't know films, and B, I guess the kind of culture war that was going on at the time. I think there's a lot of fears of maybe the hippie movement that were tied into this.
I can totally see that. Yes.
But they said what should happen is that through all the praying, it begins to rain.
Stop it. Stop.
And Howie is saved.
Of course he is. You know what that feels like?
What's
when
that?
Flanders' house catches on fire and he's like, it's me, Ned, and then it rains and puts it out.
Yeah.
No. That's not the story we're telling.
Absolutely not. This ending to me is perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Don't fucking rain. But I guess that can lead us into ratings. On the positive side, I think the performances in this film are fantastic. There's a lot of very interesting ideas that are brought up, conflicting and kind of contrasting in ways that, again, depending on where you sit in the aisle, a lot of interesting discussions can be had. I think in that way, it's very smart, and the twist works so well for me, even though I knew it going in.
Yeah. Like, that's what got me. That's why I was like, oh, this will be fun, or this will be.
Right.
And the fact that so many people requested it. I'm like, of course it's going to be good, but I already know what happens.
Didn't you determine that this was tied?
It is tied with our most requested film of all time, period.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When I read all those names up front, I was like, is this the end of the show where I read that? It was intense. I get it, though. I get why so many people would want us to watch and talk about this movie, because I think it's great. I will say that it is something of a slow burn. Because it starts.
Why'd you say it like that?
Well, it that was something too that I
know you don't love a slow burn.
Much. I personally enjoyed it because it kind of starts as this like police procedural and grows into a horror film.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't start that way, and that's so interesting to me. I just think it works so well. It's like this pioneer of folk horror. So many people have aped off of it, did homages to it, and for good reason.
For sure.
Before I call out one of my favorite things about this film, I have to call out the beautiful scenery and the production design and the art design of the Wicker Man. But It comes down to the music, right?
I mean,
I mean, we're all here for the same reasons. But no, I think the story's great. It's very well written. The only negative I can come up with is that I can possibly see how someone watching this could say this is too slow.
Right.
I can very easily see that.
Yeah.
For me, it worked, but I see how it couldn't work for someone else.
Yeah.
But for me, and I'm very surprised to say this, but out of 10 specifically selected sacrifices, I am going to give The Wicker Man 9.5 specifically selected sacrifices out of 10.
Damn.
I honestly, I came here with a 9. This is one of the most fun episodes that I've ever sat down to record.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this one would be fun, but it was
beyond. And I think it could someday be a 10, but I need to have more time with it. But until then, a 9.5, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
But I will now open the floor to you.
I had never seen this movie. Like I said, I've heard of the Nick Cage one, but I didn't know that it was a remake to this.
Right.
I didn't know the ending to this, so I went in pretty much not knowing anything.
Really?
Yeah, at all. So I did enjoy the movie. Yeah, the music was great. Like I said, the Maypole song went on a little too long, but it was on fire.
That was the club mix.
Yeah. And I mean, he just, after a while, I don't want to say like a lot of it was telegraphed, but I kind of felt after a minute, I was like, you're being taken for a ride, dude, and you're not even seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
And it was a little slower for my taste than I'd like. I did say earlier also that I was never like frightened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The situation's very terrifying. But other than that, I mean, none of them have any superpowers. None of them are, you know what I mean? None of them are ghosts or like, it's like, I 3 of y'all are like super old. I'm going to kick your ass immediately. And then, you know what I mean? But I mean, aside from that, it's really good. The music, like you said, is good. Everything is beautiful. The ending, I feel like, I don't know if it was maybe because the second half felt a little slower and it was just kind of, things were happening one after the other, but it was just that, you know, it was all just set up to the end. And that did kind of hurt it for me, but I did enjoy this movie. This was a good movie. I will watch it again. I kind of want to watch it again just so that I can watch it without having to pause and take notes and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy that he was just kind of dumb after a while. Again, going without any kind of club or anything. I get it. And then if you're going there to investigate a missing child, do that.
Yes.
Just do that.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, just do that. I you know what I mean? I'm all for it. You're strong in your faith and you believe what you believe. I'll never tell you to change it, but dude, just you came for your job, dude. I don't want a book. I don't need a speech. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm proud of you for what, you know what I mean, doing you.
Yeah.
Just let's talk about the missing kid. We don't need to do anything else. Just that. You know what I mean? That's what you came here for. Let's get it done. You asked your questions. All right. Be on your way.
Take it back to the...
Yeah. Go on, get, you know?
Yeah.
But this is a good movie, and if you've never seen it, I'd recommend watching it. It is a fun ride. I will say that the comedy of the music, whether it wanted to be funny or not, it did, I don't want to say hurt it, but it changed a lot of the tone for me at times, and it was like, what the fuck? But not in a bad way. Like I said, the music's not saying the music's bad, because the music was good.
Yeah.
But I guess the tone of what was supposed to be happening in the movie, it kind of took me out of it.
The first half really feels like a fucking musical.
Yeah, it does.
But with all that said, for me, I'm going to give Wicker Man on a scale from 1 to 10, specifically selected sacrifices, a 7.5.
Wow.
I did like the movie, and it is good, but like it is just a tad bit slow for me. And I've been trying to appreciate a little more of a slow burn movie. But like I said, the ending, I feel like all that set up for just them to sing Kumbaya, and then it was like, oh man, it was like, that was it. You know, it was like, I agree with you. There didn't need to be no rain and him climbing out.
Oh, come on, yeah.
You know what I mean? We
what
didn't
would they
need
have
all
done
that.
after?
They're
still gonna kill you.
Yeah, no shit. It's probably gonna be worse now.
Yeah, the rain's not gonna stop
they're gonna
them.
stomp you to death in the rain. It's like, what the fuck?
Lightning strikes them.
All right. Yeah.
No, I really, really liked this. I will say I have a further appreciation for it after talking about it because I am unpacking things that I didn't even realize that I noticed or that I had taken in until we're talking about it. I really like the fact that there's not really a villain or a hero. Like they're both, depending, like you said, where you sit, they could both be cast as either.
Oh, yeah.
And in my mind, I don't like Sergeant Howie and how he conducts himself and how he treats people. But it was very sad to me watching him pray and still stand strong in his faith, literally as he's dying. But Summer Isle, and I really liked him when I met him, and he's got a slick ass mouth, and I love that. But there's something not right. Because, like you said, when he was like, "You're gonna be next," it's like, no, light him up.
We don't need anything.
Nobody listen to him. Strike that from the record. Like it's like this is. You probably are.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's some kind of disconnect there where he is a man of the people, but you're still living in a mansion. This island is still named after you. Like you probably got the last of the fresh crops.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You know what I mean? There's something weird there too. And I do feel like women are kind of used as bait, there's something weird going on in the society. I'm all for the being naked. I'm all for the stomp after dark and the fucking field. Do you?
Yeah.
I love that for you. There's something strange here. There's something off.
Probably the sacrificing people part.
It's probably that. I can't really put my finger on it.
We'll talk.
But
we'll figure it out.
But besides the sacrificing, but it's a fucking journey and it's a ride. And there's moments where I'm like, I don't like you, but please stop.
Yeah.
You're a lamb being led to the slaughter, and you're just letting it happen. It's a lot. I was very tense, very unnerved, very uncomfortable at certain moments where I feel like that's like, I don't want to say triggering, but it really hit something inside me where it's like a person's an outsider in this group of people that all have their own, like, I don't want to say beliefs, like almost like our own inside joke. Like we're all in on it, but you're over there. There's something about that really fucking scares me. And so this really, what I say, my scaredy bone, it really hit there. Honestly, from the moment that he got onto the island.
And the old men are laughing?
Yeah. And from then on, it just unfurls and gets deeper and deeper and worse and worse. But I'm surprised at how much I like this, especially going in knowing the ending.
Yes.
I'm impressed. Like I don't want to, of course I know that this is a giant in horror cinema, and I know that it influenced a lot of films that Midsummer would not have happened if the Wicker Man didn't happen. Like I know that.
Yeah.
But even so, I'm like, I'm impressed. Like I don't mean to sound like shitty, but I didn't expect to like it this much. And for there to be, in my mind, so many hidden meanings and so many, like, depending on what mood you're in when you watch it, you might come away with something different. Like, it's just, again, the gift that keeps on giving. And I really do appreciate it. So on a scale from 1 to 10, specifically selected sacrifices, I got it. I'm going to give The Wicker Man a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
I am very impressed by what this film does without really, honestly, a bias of tipping their hand one way or the other, that this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. It's really just, since it is a documentary,
which never came up again, by the way.
I still don't know why they did that.
I don't know either.
But
that's where the 0.5 went.
I really, really liked this.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing about it, though, is that it takes place in the summer house. Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate The Wicker Man, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Twitter at the Pod Mortem. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Twitter at TravisMWH, at Blood and Smoke, and at RealStreeter84. Please consider pledging to our Patreon and stay tuned until after the music for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, if you try to force your beliefs on others, no matter your intentions, your attempt just might go up in flames. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned. We want to give a very special shout out to all of our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Somewhere else.
And on that show, there were some friends.
And of those friends, they had some names.
So we're gonna do everyone from now on.
We're just doing Palumpas now.
Yeah. A special thank you to Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Guy 54, Lala Thomas, Travis and Issa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Mandy, Jennifer Perez, Pierre Lombard, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Gabrielle Trevino, Spooky Mom, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Antonio Huerta, Kimberly Kleindienst, Will Brown, Linda, Sydney Smith, Osvaldo Soto, Jonathan Booth, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rizak, Molly Gerhart, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Brittany Ramatar, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Eden, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Melissa Sierra, Holly Bryan, Jordan Blevins, Michelle Moore, Liz Heath, Spencer Montalvo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexius Roberts, Dan Laveau, Itzy M., Gary Horton, Amanda Aliff, Leisha Olivier, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Alan Johnston, Nicholas Carter, Mariah, Livy Fun, Mandy M., Scott Troutman, and Towton Watson.
Hey!
Long list. We appreciate all of you, and we want you all to know that we fucking love you so much.
Hey,
That's good. That's good.
Folk horror.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Somewhere else.
I was just waiting.
Until next time.